news of the week and what we're working on for today. Several different interviews. We're going to take you down to Miami. Later on, we'll talk a little bit about spring break. It is that season. A lot of people loved going to Miami. So how are they keeping you safe? Of course, we have your weather, and we'll talk about what's trending, but something that everybody talks about right now, the gas prices out there. And there could be some relief coming to you right here in the state. This is as Georgia lawmakers are working. They just passed a bill in the House, a part of House Bill 1199, to suspend the state gas tax. So this would provide immediate relief at the pump. If you were anything like me, I had 3 miles in my car today, but I needed to get somewhere where I knew it would be a little bit cheaper. So of course, Kroger, I can use my points there as the prices are high. But right now, if it is passed in the state Senate, that is the next place where it is set to go. If it's passed in the Senate, then it will go to Governor Kemp's for his signature. And if signed, it is expected to quickly lower gas prices across the state. So let's talk averages here, okay? According to Gas Buddy, according to this morning here in the state of Georgia, $3.79 per gallon, which is up 2 cents from yesterday. Last week, we were talking about $3.45. A month ago, it was $2.68. So across Metro Atlanta, we're talking $3.81. That's up 33 cents from last week and $1 more than we saw last month. And shout out to us premium users, those 93ers out there. We wanted those nice cars, and now we are paying for it. Sometimes I think about going back to a horse and a buggy. So we'll, of course, follow this as it will go next to the Senate, then hopefully to Governor Kemp's desk. And a lot of this is coming, again, as we're seeing gas prices across not just the state here in Georgia, but across the country, because all of this is coming down from the latest with the U.S.-Iran war. Let's go ahead and talk about it. The latest to get you update with that this morning. President Donald Trump mentioned that he is seeking $200 billion in new Pentagon funding here for the war there. He calls it a, quote, small price to pay to ensure the military has all it needs as the war rages on with Iran. He also noted that this request would include more than just what's needed for this war. He says he wants to be, again, quotes, we want to be in the best shape possible, the best shape we've ever been in. He said this in a news conference from the Oval Office there. Now, he did not specify what the Pentagon needed, and right now you're taking a look at the 6 U.S. airmen who were killed in a plane crash over in Iraq there. But Trump did not offer specifics for what the Pentagon might need it. He just said, quote, vast amounts of ammunition. He also denied that the U.S. was running short of any weaponry. He argued that he was just being judicious when he was speaking. But we also know some new developments here. U.S. F-35 was damaged by a suspected Iranian fire and made an emergency landing. According to sources, USF, the fighter jet, it made an emergency landing at a U.S. base after it was struck what is believed now Iranian fire. That comes from several sources close to the matter there. They say that it was flying a combat mission over Iran when it was forced to make that emergency landing. Some other news, President Trump also saying that he's pleased with the level of backing he's seen from specifically Japan on U.S. military actions in Iran. He contrasted it with his European allies who have been less than vocal supportive during this conflict there. He says he's had several conversations with the prime minister there in Japan. He then added, quote, unlike NATO, which I'm sure will cause some talks and concerns. He said a group of European nations and Japan, they issued a joint statement about what was happening there. So the U.S. signaled it may take steps to boost oil supply. Again, we were talking about those gas prices, again, here in the state, but not just in the state, across the country here, as Iran's retaliatory strikes really deepens the global economy. We're really talking about the Strait of Hormuz there, and as a lot of the oil is not able to get out of that. Of course, this is something we will continue to follow. This is top of mind here. We also heard from Pete Hegseth there with the Secretary. It was really the first time, and he opened his comments at the Pentagon talking about those U.S. military men and women who gave their lives in this operation, acknowledging their, quote, sacrifices of American service members who have been killed so far. We did see the president and dignitaries at the dignified transfer of those bodies. A solemn moment there earlier this week. Again, we're showing their names there on your screen. Another thing that we've been talking about, this comes with the funding with DHS. If you've heard about the airports, if you had a loved one at the airports, we're talking TSA wait times. They continue to be very long here. I believe this is video from Hartsfield-Jackson that we took here in Atlanta, the world's busiest airport there. So this is not the case today. I pulled up now, let's see, the main checkpoint, 32 minutes to get through. The north checkpoint, 27 minutes to get through. And if you're like me and you take the international to sneak in the back way, that will do 13 minutes to get through right now. So we're still seeing those long delays. This all comes as staffing shortages with DHS. TSA workers and agents are not being paid, and there is some fear that those hubs may have to shut down entirely. We're not talking about the jumbo airports here in Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson, or anything like that. We're more referring to maybe those smaller airports, those smaller markets that really don't have the workers, and that's because a lot of TSA workers, because they're not getting paid, they already missed a full paycheck. A lot of them are calling out sick. They've also had a number of people quit. So more than 30% did not show up to work in New York, Houston, and New Orleans this week. And again, that's really causing some backups and delays there at the airport. Democrats claim that they've tried multiple times to fund parts of DHS that would pay TSA workers, but were blocked by Republicans. Again, keep in mind, the Republicans are placing the blame on Democrats, and this is as spring break season. They're coming up. A lot of you at home, you and your families are going out, traveling to different places here. We'll talk a little bit later about those college kids going down to Miami. But, now they're saying instead of 2 hours before, you need to get there 3 hours before. And I know some of you are thinking, oh, well, I have pre-checked. I can just breeze through. That is not going to be a case for a lot of you. Even the pre-check lines have been long as well. So you're not going to be able to skirt around this. But of course, we want all of those airport workers, those hardworking TSA agents to have their paychecks. And of course, we all want to breeze through the airport as quickly as possible. Let's get you to some of the topics we're working on here in Metro Atlanta. Tanya Mendoza standing by. And of course, a big story has been those teenagers, that 14-year-old, that 16-year-old, both killed in South Fulton. And Tanya, this morning, police gave some sort of an update. What did we learn? What did we take away from that one? Good to see you, by the way.
Right. Well, the South Fulton Police Department held a press conference at 11:30 this morning. Our reporter Tara Jabor was there. Yes, it's about the tragic shooting and killing of two teenagers. Their names are 16-year-old J'mauri Smarr, 14-year-old Jeremiah Carter. It took place on Cook's Landing, in Cook's Landing subdivision on Fortune Point. Let's roll to the soundbite from the press conference with Dr. Cedric Alexander, the public safety director for the city of South Fulton.
Tips are hugely valuable, very important, because the more information that can be called in, we have an opportunity to vet that information, if you will. Some of it could be credible, some of it could not be, but we can't take anything for granted at this point, because remember, we have to build a case based on fact, not based on speculation that people may throw out over social media.
Yeah, so basically right now they are still looking for a suspect. The night of the shooting, they did tow away that white car that you just saw right there, and they had the police were focused around that white car. That's what we know right now. They're asking anyone with tips to call the South Fulton Police Department as soon as possible. Tara Jabor will have the latest on that story coming up at 4, 5, and 6. Eric?
Yeah. Tanya, I just want to make sure, again, if we can roll that video, I want to honor those two teens there, 16-year-old J'mauri Smarr and 14-year-old Jeremiah Carter. This is a time, if you know anything that might be able to help these grieving families in this incident in South Fulton, come forward. We also heard from the mayor calling this a devastating loss, just young teens killed, unfortunately, in just such a tragic incident. Hopefully somebody will come forward with pertinent information, Tanya. All right, take us to Carroll County. I know there's a child abuse case that we're working on to learn more information.
That's right. Kevin Stewart is working on this story out of Carroll County. where actually, I think about a day ago, we got a press release from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office regarding a DFACS case where some kids went to school and reported some sort of domestic violence in the home. So DFACS was called out. I guess following up this DFACS investigation, police went out to the home and discovered guns and drugs, and they made an arrest of a male there. Before that, I do want to say that the mother in this case and the children had been relocated to a hotel where it sounds like the male who was arrested had somehow figured out where they were and made contact. So that's why he was arrested, and they followed up at the home. And as you can see, there was a lot of guns, and it sounds like there were also drugs. So that arrest was made. Kevin Stewart is following up on all the details about that story, and he'll have the latest later.
C County to the next C County. Let's go to Coweta, where is a case in a homicide, very serious issue there. But talk about the arrest there. I know probably a family has been waiting years to get some sort of a justice.
Yeah. So, okay, this one's a little different because it was a cold case, I believe from 2023, involving 41-year-old J'mauri Smarr, who was shot in his bed during a home invasion on Jeter Circle. The two people who have been arrested or taken into custody, these individuals, the police don't believe that they are the murderers. They believe that these two men allegedly discovered Seagal's body, but delayed calling police. So they also are saying that the victim may have still been alive at that time of discovery. So it's really interesting, and I'm really anxious and eager to hear what Doug Evans will have to say about this case and give us all the details later. I do know that they're still offering a reward in this case for the actual killers. So hopefully we'll have an update on the case. And I know that the family has to be, excited to hear that they've made some leadway in the case. And Doug will have more on that later today.
We want to make sure that we're just getting some information from Atlanta police when it comes to a press conference. Teen takeovers, we've been talking about this for quite some time. Walk us through what we know that they are planning for later today.
Okay, so I just pulled up this graphic that came in a press release from the Atlanta Police Department today. They're having a press conference at 3 o'clock at police headquarters. What they said in the email that they just sent me is that this is to inform the public about a possible teen takeover that is expected to take place this weekend in Atlanta and surrounding counties in Metro Atlanta. So that is what they said. It also says that law enforcement partners from other jurisdictions are going to join them during the press conference, and they're going to talk about that and put the word out about how they're going to crack down on teen takeovers throughout Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, we've seen that joint effort. Henry County, they had a strong show of force. Cobb County, where it happened, and who knows where these crafty teens are going to try to go next. All right, Tanya Mendoza, I know we'll have that taken live there. Yeah.
Eric, I just wanted to let you know you're not supposed to go through the domestic terminal to the international terminal to get to domestic. FYI, that's what they said earlier this week.
You know, I know that they said that. I hated that they said that because that was my little secret. Do you ever? Never mind. We'll talk about it.
I'm guilty too.
So if the lines are long, sometimes you can go through the international side to get through.
Came out saying that was a major
I know.
I've done that before, but
yeah,
before this whole
times are tough. You know, times are tough. All right, Tanya, thank you so much. All right, back with.
I hear that there's like another secret way too.
There is. We'll talk about that during the break there, because it won't be a secret anymore. Well, here's not a secret. The weather is warming up, kind of nice, and the glasses are nice too.
Thank you.
Yes, I noticed.
A little blurred eye these days, so we need a little extra help. So we'll go with 4 eyes are better than 2. Okay, here's the deal, folks. Temperatures are warming up nationwide, but really the ire has been over the southwestern United States, where the numbers are out of pocket. Yesterday, Phoenix, Arizona had its earliest triple-digit high temperature in its history since records have been recorded. Right now, it is still an AM hour out there. I'm not going to do the math because I think they're on mountain time. So that would put them, I did the math anyway, that would put them in the 11 o'clock hour, and it is 86 degrees there, the leading temperature in the nation. Meanwhile, here at home, we're trying to reach and grab some of that warmth to bring it in for us, and we're doing it in part. Winds are coming in and out of the southwest, and it's 60 degrees at this hour. Some communities have yet to make it to the 60s, but we are all going there before the day is said and done. In terms of improvement over the last 24 hours, so this time compared to this time yesterday, look at this. We are running some 10, 12, 13, 14 degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. So there's some improvement being made. As we take a wide look across the United States of America, high pressure is controlling the weather across the southeast. There is a front that is trying to move through, but it doesn't really have its sights set on North Georgia in terms of bringing us any wet weather, because things are just really so dry around here. So you may get a spritz or a sprinkle on Saturday, but overall, it just looks like our atmosphere is just a bit too dry, which that's good news for us because that keeps the humidity down as we go into the weekend and temperatures go into the 80s. Not today, we'll go with a high of 76 degrees, or 67 degrees, excuse me. We'll drop down into the 40s tonight, some communities in the 30s, but only for a short while. Look at the weekend, it's absolutely amazing. We'll throw in a 10% chance for rain just because of that front coming through, but it doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with. And so when we talk about moisture, Eric, keep in mind that that's going to be a true 82 and a true 83 for Saturday and Sunday because we don't have the higher dew points in place. So this is that time of the year that we really have to capture the outdoors and the great feel of the air, because we know in a couple months' time, we'll look at that 82 and 83 with a squinty eye and be like, eek. That's going to actually be more of a 90 when you factor in the humidity.
All right, that 83. Look, this is what my grandmother would call pneumonia weather, all this up and down and in and out there. But hopefully we will be leveling out. Jonathan, Stacy, thanks so much. All right, we talked about Jonathan's glasses. Coming up, the Hawks talking about vision as well. This is National Reading Month, and of course, to read, you need those eyes. We'll be right back. Also joining on the conversation, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, we are there. And hey, we see those comments, so keep it nice, but we want to include you in the conversation as well. Fox 5 News Live continues right after this break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back on Fox 5 News Live during this 1 p.m. hour. Good to be with you. Again, joining on the conversation, YouTube, TikTok, we are there. We would love to have some of your comments or questions, what we're talking about. I know we're going through a lot of stories here, a lot of things impacting not just you, but your pocketbooks as well. So when we talk about money, you have questions there, we would love to answer anything as well. All right, let's take a little palate cleanser for some of the hard news we've been talking about. Let's bring in what's trending online. Sam Daniel with our digital team. Sam, talk about, we're going to talk about the Duggars. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. Walk us through what people are clicking on, what has their interest out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Eric, we are not taking a turn from the hard news right now. This is still pretty hard stuff that we are talking about. The first thing up, though, is a former reality TV star that's accused of molesting a 9-year-old girl. Their name is Joseph Duggar. They are from 19 Kids and Counting. He was arrested in Arkansas, but this alleged molestation happened 5 years ago in Florida. It happened in Bay County, Florida, according to the Bay County Sheriff's Office. And if you're wondering where that is, that's where Panama City Beach is. So, very popular tourist destination. And according to the victim, she was in a condo with Duggar. It was some sort of trip. We aren't sure what the connection is here, so we don't know how the victim knows Duggar, but they were there together and they were staying at a home together. So it started off, according to this victim, that Duggar asked her when she was 9 years old to sit in her lap several times, officials say. But eventually it kind of escalated a little bit, and police say that Duggar sat down next to this 9-year-old girl, put a blanket over them on the couch, and then the victim says that's when Duggar molested her. So this happened 5 years ago. She's now 14 years old. She's come forward, and she has participated in a forensic review where she started talking about these different incidents that happened at Panama City Beach 5 years ago when she was 9 years old. Now, the Duggars live in Arkansas, and earlier this week, the father of the victim, according to police, went to Duggar's house in Arkansas and confronted him about these different allegations. So a lot was going on here. And then Duggar then allegedly, according to police, admitted to the molestation to the father, and that's when police arrested him. So he is now in an Arkansas jail, awaiting to be extradited to Bay County, Florida. And if this sounds similar to you, this is not the first time a Duggar family member has been arrested. So the Duggars were known for their TLC show 19 Kids and Counting, but back in 2021, Little Rock, Arkansas detectives discovered child porn files on a phone and computer on Josh Duggar's, who's the sibling, and it gets confusing. There's a lot of J names in here, so I'm sorry. Josh Duggar's computer, and he was arrested. Now, Josh Duggar is serving 12 and a half years in prison after being convicted of the child porn stuff. He was also accused of molestation, and his parents were accused of knowing about it, but that has not gone to court. The only thing that has been proven is that Josh Duggar did download child sexual material, child porn, back in 2021.
All right, Sam, yeah, they have a lot of J names. The Duggars digging themselves in deeper holes there. You're right, Josh Duggar, he did have that scandal there dating back to 2015. All right, let's talk about the next topic here, another hard story when it comes to an overdose that happened in Miami. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, so the overdose happened at the Ultra Music Festival in Miami, which is an electronic music festival, like EDM music. I was looking at some pictures of the scene before coming on, and it's just like huge crowds. Now, if you're wondering why we're talking about this here on Fox 5 News Live, it's because a Sandy Springs woman has been arrested for allegedly participating in the murder of a Georgia woman at this music festival. The woman you're looking at on your screen's name is Carmen Lowe. She's 25, and she was arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit homicide. So according to officials in Florida, Lowe and 3 other people participated in the death of a woman from Lawrenceville named Janiyah Lee. Police said while they were at this festival, Lee took some sort of MDMA pill, and she started feeling sick right after taking it. So she got to the point where she was so bad that she had to go to the medical tent, and that fire personnel had to take her to the hospital. Lee eventually died at the hospital, and an autopsy was done in Miami, where the medical examiner's office has now said she died from acute MDMA toxicity. And so police started investigating. It's been almost a year now. And they say that Lowe, through these other people that are charged, got the order for an MDMA pill, delivered it to Lee, and then Lee overdosed on the pill after she got it from one of the other women that are now charged in this. So it's a lot of like going through drug deal type of situation at this festival. From what I can tell, just researching based on other reporting, this is not the first time something like this has happened at this festival. Drug use happens a lot at this festival. But police say they are working to crack down on things like this. They say that this arrest is an important step in that battle against drugs being used here. And it's interesting because I was looking at it according to the festival's website. The 2026 Ultra Music Festival actually begins in a week. So a week from tomorrow, the festival begins.
All right, Sam, before we go, we have to move on. I said we were going to have a palate cleanser. Are you at least having a good day?
Yes, I am, especially since I get to talk to you, Eric.
Oh, there you go. Flattery will get you everywhere. Sam Daniels with What's Trending. Thanks so much. All right, we do want to talk about earlier, we mentioned the Hawks and Vision. This is National Reading Month, which is so important, and of course the Hawks are getting in on that, but part of reading, you got to be able to see. So the Hawks are getting free eye exam, new glasses. Chris Rosenthal, who I don't know if they assigned you this because you have glasses, but talk us through what I see you're at an elementary school. Good to see you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm at Evelyn C. West Elementary School here in Fairburn, and yeah, I've been wearing glasses actually myself since elementary school, and I know what it was like to put them on and realize, oh man, my vision's bad. I can finally see, and that's why Vision to Learn is partnering with the Atlanta Hawks and with Georgia's own to give about 100 students here free eye exams and free glasses. We've got some of the students here, some of these guys here, some students at Evelyn C. West Elementary School. They got glasses and they got books to read with those glasses. I got one of the students here. Tell me, when you got these glasses, what was it like putting them on here?
It was really, I could see clearer, I could see far away words, and like it was just really better, and I feel like it's gonna help me succeed more in my work.
Absolutely. And what's kind of cool is if you look at all of them, they all have different styles. I mean, they got to choose their own style of glasses. There was a mobile truck that came here not too long ago and gave them all their eye exams so they can get their prescriptions, and really made it convenient. And I'm joined by Ann here. She is with Vision to Learn. And tell me, why do this? Why is this so important for these students?
So we've been in Atlanta for 8 years. We've given 50,000 kids classes, and it's a game changer academically. Johns Hopkins University did a study of our program, and it found that if you give a child glasses who hasn't had them previously, it can be the equivalent of 4 to 6 additional months of learning. So all the great things that everyone's trying to do to help kids, this is step one, because everything works better if you can see the board, you can read a book, go down the list.
Yeah, I mean, some of these students may get, we were talking about this, they may get kind of misjudged or miscategorized, and really just the issue is the glasses, the vision.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. We hear from teachers often that there was a child that previously they thought was special needs. It's not, they just couldn't see.
And that helps them. I mean, there's sort of a stigma. I think growing up, there was a stigma for eyes. I mean, but does this help kind of break that barrier?
It does, and it certainly helps in the Atlanta Hawks. I'm telling you, I'm bringing the glasses to you, and Harry the Hawk is on the clinic, and it used to be you might have gone back to third grade as one kid that got glasses the day before, but today you can see 25% of the kids in class are getting glasses, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, this room here, it was full a little earlier with students getting glasses. They had a little bit of a party here. The Hawks were here, the cheerleaders were here. Harry the Hawk was here. Hawks donating $1.2 million actually to you guys. I mean, what will that allow you guys to do?
So the Hawks have been our leading partner from day one. We would not have helped the 50,000 kids I mentioned without the Hawks, and this contribution to the Atlanta Vision Project will make sure that the next 50,000 kids get the classes they need. Every K through 5 student who doesn't have classes in the Atlanta metro area will get them thanks to this partnership. And we believe that's at 270 schools.
You know, I looked at the mobile truck earlier that you have. That's a mobile eye exam. Talk to me about that. I mean, it makes it convenient, and you know, how important is that part of it?
Absolutely. We come to where kids are all day, every day at school. And in the summer, it's libraries and recreation programs. And it's just, you know, it just makes it easy. We screen every child. Those who don't pass the screening get an exam on the clinic that you just mentioned. And then we come back 3 or 4 weeks later and give the glasses to the kids and fit them, as you also saw today.
Wonderful. Well, these kids all have glasses. They got books also donated here. Georgia's Own helped out with that. They can read with, and you're going to be. Doesn't stop here, right?
No, this is one school, but there's 270 more that we'll be going to over the next 3 years. Thank you, kids. You are the best.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. So glad you guys can see. You guys look great in your glasses. I'll tell you, you guys look really great.
Yeah, they look so good in their glasses. This brings back memories. I had glasses in elementary. I still wear glasses. I have contacts in, but my glasses were not as cool because I had to have bifocal, so it had the line in the glasses. Those kids look really good in their glasses, and of course, reading so important, seeing is so important, and a lot of kids don't know those signs. So this is going to help so many young readers, so many young learners. Chris Rosenthal, thanks so much for that. All right, let's get you up to date. Q Futures March Madness, right? I mean, we are now talking basketball with the NCAA tournament bracket here. Here is my bracket that I'm about to fill out. I'm going to need a little help because I'm not necessarily the most basketball up to date, but we're going to fill this in and watch. I'm probably going to win this year. It's always the people who don't really know about basketball that wins the tournament and makes everyone else mad. But let's talk about UGA, the men. They are facing St. Louis tonight here. Let's get you to some video so I can read the stats because I don't know it off the top of my head. For the first time in more than 2 decades, the Georgia Bulldogs, they are heading to the NCAA's men's basketball tournament. This is consecutive years. They earned the number 8 seed and will face the number 9 St. Louis on tonight as they are getting ready to play there. The Bulldogs, they're coming off the best regular season that the program that they've seen, finishing with 22 wins, and they also ranked 5th nationally in scoring and lead the country in fast break points. So will this be a great year for them in this tournament? You know, they haven't won the NCAA since 2002. The head coach, who is Mike White, said that he is excited about the opportunity to rebuild. And of course, we are rooting on UGA. The other one, Kennesaw State, they're going against Gonzaga as well. They're taking on the number 3 seed there. Gonzaga, this is some video of their send-off as they are heading to the competition. It's coming after a 2023 run, also a number 14 seed. The Owls secured their spot this year, winning their first Conference USA tournament title. They capped off a 21-win season, the second most in the program's Division I era. Tip-off for Kennesaw State is set for 10 o'clock tonight. Of course, we are wishing UGA, the Dogs, the Owls, we are wishing them well as well. So in the newsroom, we all have a bracket, a little tournament that we're doing. So drop down, who should I put in my bracket? I'm very competitive, so don't throw me off my game. We want to make sure that we come out winning as well. All right, of course, we want to invite you to join in on the conversation, TikTok, YouTube. We see the comments. We'll incorporate some of them in. We'll be right back after the break. All right, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live on this Thursday. Good to have you with us. We've had a good time so far, but now let's talk my favorite thing, some food, new restaurants. Of course, we've seen a lot of them closing, but there's still some that are opening up. And if you were in Midtown, and if you've ever wanted to eat in a cave, I don't know if that's something that you've ever just said, hey, I want to eat in a cave. Now you can at Colony Square. Paul Milliken is at Coweta there to check it out. It's intimate. Let's see the details.
Well, we show you a lot of restaurants here on Fox 5 Atlanta, and I love checking out new restaurants, but I'll tell you a little story. I got an email about this new place called Coweta at Colony Square, and my friend sent me the email and said, Paul, you got to stop what you're doing. You got to read this email, and you need to believe me when I say you have never seen a place like this. And she was right. So welcome to one of the caves, the Cuevas, here at Coweta in Colony Square, hanging out with Pablo and Omar. It's so great to see you guys again. And Omar, so Coweta is a combination of two words, right?
It is a combination of two words. You have cave and empty.
What was sort of the vibe you were going for when you created Coweta?
100%. So, back in 2009, William went to Oaxaca. And, during those vacation times, he saw a lot of caves out there, and he thought, oh, what a cool way to bring back, that atmosphere here to a little bit to Atlanta.
Yeah, right. And hard to believe we're sitting in Midtown right now because you feel a million miles away. And you really did a transformation job on this space, didn't you?
No, 100%. And this is only 2,200 square feet. There was obviously no caves here, right? Putting it together was a huge undertaking, but as you can see, it came together.
It worked out very well, absolutely. So, Pablo, tell me a little bit about the cuisine. We keep saying it's Oaxaca style or Oaxacan in style. What does that mean exactly?
Absolutely. Well, we try to bring most of the flavors of Oaxaca as well, and creating original and dishes classic from Oaxaca. For example, the pre-Hispanic.
Well, this used to be on the plate. Let's be very clear. This looked beautiful until I ate half of it. I'm not just saying this, folks. This may be my favorite entree in the city of Atlanta right now. This is so good.
Oh, absolutely. That is a pre-Hispanic dish. It's we call it tetela. So technically, they make the masa, they fill it up with the mushrooms, a little bit of corn, and on the bottom, you have a house-made mole. So it's outstanding. And the mole, as you can see, house-made, topping with a little ajonjolí, and then you have a epazote green rice, which is one of the classic herbs from Mexico.
There's a lot of different kinds of mole. And we were saying before, a lot of people maybe don't know exactly what it is or don't know really what the taste is and are in for some big surprises here, right?
Oh, definitely, because everybody has their own styles. Depends where you are in Mexico. But ours try to be more closer to the state of Oaxaca, that's what we're representing. And as well, you have the agua chile, a little representation from the north in Sinaloa. This is shrimps being slightly cooked with the lemon, also fresh avocados, pickled onions, and house-made, handmade chips.
Oh, I mean, everything is so good. And just the tortillas themselves and the chips are delicious.
Definitely. They're fresh. We made it every day, in-house, house-made. We have someone there
you do.
At any time making the tortillas, and then deeply fried, gently, coming and crushed, and it's so outstanding. It's so delicious. And matter of fact, you don't have to add any salt because
you
have the perfect flavor.
Well, so you just said you have someone back there. More than that, you had me back there this morning. I was making them. Omar, am I hired?
Well, 100%.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Anytime you need help, although I'll probably eat more than I actually produce. Gentlemen, I think we need to do a toast, a cheers, or what should we say in Spanish?
Salud.
Salud to Coweta. Salud.
Wow, that was Paul Milliken. That food, my stomach is grumbling, my mouth is watering. It looks so good. It's at Colony Square, Coweta. Just opened, cave-like features. Good. Got to make a reservation very soon. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about food pantry. Not everyone has access to food, free, healthy food, but there's one organization that wants to make sure that it is able to get into schools for those who need it the most. We'll be right back. Welcome back. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer, that is William Shakespeare, the poet, the author, the scriptwriter right there, coming from Hamlet, one of his most famous works there. And if you love Shakespeare and you want to get out something to do this weekend, there is an outdoor Shakespeare festival that's returning to Avondale Estates, or at least Edie caught up with the organizer, something to get out, enjoy, and hey, a little culture never hurts.
Start with the basics here. I mean, just kind of reacquainting us with the Shakespeare Happening series and what's going down.
So for the spring, we are going to be doing Much Ado About Nothing. On April 18th, we are going to be doing Midsummer Night's Dream. And then May 23rd, we're doing Romeo and Juliet. And this is all going to be outdoor, free. We encourage everyone to bring a blanket and a picnic and bring all the kids, and plenty of parking, which is great, and it's free parking.
Hey, that's rare. That's exciting.
Yeah.
This is great. It's so cool this is happening, you know, for families and folks in DeKalb County, Commissioner Terry. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And we piloted this out last year as a way to bring free outdoor education, Shakespeare, to all of DeKalb County families. Avondale Estates is a great location because we're sort of central. They have the Tudor architecture and this great outdoor amphitheater, but we're surrounded by a lot of families, apartment complexes, and an opportunity for us to get young people engaged. And that's probably my favorite part of this whole series, is we have a specific sort of interaction with William Shakespeare and the kids.
Yeah.
And they do kind of like some little plays and vignettes, and it's fun for the whole family.
It is, and you know, it's the opposite of stuffy. You know, when I think about
Yes.
about things where families are welcome, and in the video you see kids that are up, and you know, be able to be a part of this. You don't have to worry about, you know, shushing them the whole time. So this is fantastic. O'Neill, talk to me about the importance of you know, Shakespeare, performing Shakespeare, being in the audience, and being exposed to this.
Yeah, so I love to tell people that humans haven't evolved much over the last 400 years, right? What makes you happy or sad or angry or excited today was the same for the Elizabethans back then, and Shakespeare is timeless in his themes, and so the human emotion is always relevant, and that's why Shakespeare is so important, so that people can see themselves in the characters that are portrayed. And Shakespeare also is a great way to study current day events and things that are going on in a more safely removed way, to not feel so bogged down by how stressful life can be today, but also being able to look at what Shakespeare's characters were going through and how they dealt with it, and made human decisions that were sometimes flawed, sometimes accurate, maybe not always the right thing, but they tried their best.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting too. It's not always that we all have access, you know, to be able to see Shakespeare right in front of you. So that's another part of this. This is really bringing it right into the community, and it's right in front of you.
Yes, we're very proud to be able to partner with Safe PR and for Ted to help us finance this, so that we can bring these amazing actors right into the heart of the city and interact with people, so that they can experience that Shakespeare isn't, as you said, like as stuffy or highbrow as some people might think it is. He was playing to all types of people, the groundlings as well as the royalty, and a lot of his language, although it may seem foreign, is English, just a different time period of English. So we do our best to make sure that the words are relatable and also understandable through our actions and portrayal of his characters.
So how does this all work? I mean, you just show up, take a seat. You mentioned some blankets. You can put your blankets down. Is this something you need to like reserve ahead of time, or can you just take the family and go?
That's what makes this really dynamic and unique. There's no going online or reserving a ticket or purchasing a ticket. You just show up.
Wow.
And you just take your front row or the back row. We're going to have vendors so that people we're going to have some DeKalb County community vendors as well, right?
That's right, yeah, and we use this as an opportunity for all of our various departments, whether it's voter registration, our sanitation department, our fire truck is going to be there. So it kind of creates an opportunity for in the intermissions, if people have issues with, I don't know, trash pickup or potholes or want to go touch the fire truck, we'll have our departments there to, be available to answer anyone's questions and just learn about programs the county's doing in general.
Very, very cool. Okay, so where can we go for more info if we want to take the family out and enjoy this? Because this is a rain or shine thing, right?
Yes, it's rain or shine, and they can go to sageprconsulting.com. Everything is listed there. And, we also just want to thank the city of Avondale Estates for hosting this. And there's going to be live music. There's a children's component, and it's going to be Much Ado About Nothing for the kids, interactive. And then there's going to be the best of, if you will. It's not the entire not the
highlight.
Yes, the best of, not the unabridged version of Much Ado About Nothing, but it's a really fun, family-friendly show, and I think that there is a lot of new businesses that are popping up in Avondale Estates. So I encourage everybody to just come show up, because it's going to be a beautiful, gorgeous day for the weather as well.
Yeah, and free. You can't beat free,
can't
right?
Beat free.
You can't beat free. So this is great. This is a real treat for folks to come and enjoy it. It's happening right in DeKalb County, Avondale Estate. So Nicole, Commissioner Ted, Terry with us today, and O'Neill, thank you all so much for stopping in and sharing this with us. I'm glad to see it's back up and running this weekend. It's going down.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you so
we
much.
Appreciate it, guys. And the Shakespeare Happening series is taking place, like we mentioned, rain or shine in Avondale Estates, March 21st through April 18th and May 23rd. Each event is free. It runs from 2 to 5, so gather the family around and take them out there to enjoy a Shakespeare happening.
All right, Elise, Edie, look, if you're a Shakespeare nerd like myself, I was in Romeo and Juliet, played Lord Capulet. I was in Midsummer's Night Dream playing Theseus. Free and good for the entire family, and the weather is going to be great as well. All right, as we mentioned before the break there, talking about food insecurity, and there's a food pantry that is popping up. Our Eli Jordan was inside of a classroom as they're aiming to really cut down on the hunger when it comes to a lot of the students that we see who go to school each and every day. Eli.
Hey, late last summer, Must Ministries and Kroger had a big announcement at one of the Kroger stores that they were going in partnership to help supply food in a lot of area schools at school food pantries. Well, here we are, 2026, 5 school laters. Must Ministries and Kroger are here cutting a ribbon at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, and they're really excited because they got about 150 students and families that they have identified that are facing food scarcity. Now, food scarcity is a major issue in the country. About 14 million children face it nationwide, and here in Georgia, about 500,000. And just in the metro area, 200,000 children are facing food scarcity. And that's why this is important today, because they can help out here at ground zero, where the students go to school, and they can get the food here. And I spoke with people with Kroger and Must Ministries, and here's what they had to say.
We're excited because for so long we've been outside the perimeter. This is our first opportunity to come inside the perimeter to provide these pantries. We have 3 on tap for this year, starting today here at Hank Aaron Academy. So we are ecstatic at Must Ministries to be a part of the city of Atlanta and to help provide food for our children.
So our mission is zero hunger, zero waste, and we want to remove hunger in our communities in every way that we can. When you think about 1 in 5 children are food insecure, you get into school statistics. In Georgia, over 200,000 students in the metro Atlanta are food insecure, and over 500,000 across the state of Georgia. It just makes sense to be able to expand the mission and reach out to schools where there's a big need.
6th through 12th graders here at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy can plan on getting food once a month, about 50 pounds of that food. Now, Kroger and Must Ministries, they're hoping to open up 2 more food pantries in their partnership later on this year. And if you'd like to help out Must Ministries with a donation, you can go to mustministries.org. Again, that's mustministries.org, and you can donate there. Reporting at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, back to you guys.
All right, Eli Jordan, thanks so much. Tom Haynes here now talking about The Pulse. Such a fun show. I mean, you've been enjoying it, right?
You would know. You've been on it a couple of times.
We cut up on there as well, so.
Well, you don't hold back, which makes the show that much more fun.
Why? People want to hear the unfiltered, right?
You said you wouldn't come over to my house for me to make you a salad. I'll never forget that. So,
and I think I meant it, but I can't remember why I said it. I can't remember
I
why.
can't either. We've talked about so many things on the Pulse. It is a fun show. It airs right here on Fox Local at 7 p.m. and on Fox 5, whether you're watching the broadcast channel or you're streaming with us. Tonight, Eric, I'm curious if you've gone through your closet lately, okay, and you've checked out some of your clothes that may be dated, maybe years old, and have made their way to the back of your closet out of the rotation, and you feel like, gee, maybe I could give these a second life, all right, because new research from Northwestern University, they're actually studying this stuff at universities. They developed a new mathematical model using the most comprehensive fashion database to date, showing that trends tend to cycle every 20 years or so. So while bell bottoms were popular back in the 1970s, of course they went out of style, then they came back. So do you hang on to clothes and wait for them to come back, or do you get rid of them and then buy them again?
So I don't get rid of a lot of clothes because clothes have meaning to me. So I will hold on to things for a very long period of time.
Okay.
But things are all cyclical. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So the baggy style from like the 90s, they're back now. You can wear a lot of that stuff.
I know.
You know, I went through like my father's stuff after he passed, and a lot of that stuff is still.
You held on to it.
Yeah,
Good.
he held on. He had Crocs before they were popular.
Really?
In the early 2000s, I still wear those Crocs. Now, they don't have any grip at the bottom of it now.
Right.
But they're still,
They're faves.
he was above the trends. He knew.
Do you know that there are actual people, companies, whatever, that will go into your closet and put stuff together that you never even imagined? So instead of going out to buy new stuff, you just have one of these guys come in. They'll re-engineer it for you. All of that tonight. We're going to discuss our favorite fashion trends tonight on the Pulse at 7 o'clock.
All right. We will see you then.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Sure.
All right. Let's talk now. I believe we're going to talk about Miami. Somewhere that, Tom, you know very well. We're talking about spring break.
Born and bred.
Born and bred. We want to bring in Christopher Best, who's with Miami Beach Police. Christopher, thanks so much for joining us and being here with us today. Talk a little bit about spring break. It's a great time. We're seeing a lot of different people coming in. But, of course, you guys want to make sure that people are safe. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and I'm actually happy to hear that we have some 305 locals on.
305 locals. Yes, talk a little bit about spring break. I know that a lot of times you guys have seen an influx, to put it nicely, of people coming down. We're showing some video there of just a little bit of what we've seen in the past. So far, things have been pretty calm, but what do you want people to know as they come down and enjoy the beautiful city that you guys have down there?
Yeah, sure. So Miami Beach broke up its spring break about 2 years ago. And though at the time we received a lot of pushback, people are beginning to see the real results of that. So visibility, as far as law enforcement visibility, hasn't increased. Our restrictions, such as double parking rates and toll rates, are still implemented. And what we've seen over the past 2 years is the culture, the party town culture of Miami Beach has really shifted. Now people are coming to our city, respecting our city, abiding by the rules and laws, because they know if they don't, they will be arrested.
Bit through the drone. I know you mentioned earlier when we were emailing back and forth, you guys used a drone program that was really beneficial. Talk about that and the proactive arrests that you guys have already done to make sure that people have fun when they come this year.
Yes, so we're leveraging technology. So we have license plate readers, which basically scan every license plate that enters and exit our city. We utilize that for proactive enforcement, and we've gotten a lot of illegal drugs and guns off of the streets before they ever enter our city. Our drone as a first responder program is also something that we utilize for operational awareness and to help the boots on the ground. Just this past weekend, which marked our first high impact weekend of the year, our arrests were down 21%, which is phenomenal because our hotel occupancy rates are up about 95%, which let us know that people are in our city, but they're behaving themselves. Our officers are still on high alert, and just this past weekend, they're proactively stopping a vehicle. That vehicle fled from them, and within a matter of seconds, our drone was up in the sky. The subject tried to bail out of the vehicle. He had no idea he was being watched, and real-time information from our real-time intelligence center was conveyed to the boots on the ground. And in a matter of minutes, he was arrested. A gun was taken off of the streets. And this is just one of many examples that we're utilizing to ensure safety remains a priority, though this year has been pretty uneventful.
All right, Officer Christopher Best, we could talk to you all the time. Thanks so much for joining us here at 1 o'clock. Miami, a safe place, a fun place. And I know you guys aren't the fun police. You just want to make sure that everyone arrives safely, leaves safely, and has a really good time. Thanks for joining us. And thank you at home for joining us for Fox 5 News Live for this 1 p.m. hour. It's been good to talk with you. Ariel Onstott coming up next. We'll be right back.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstop. Thanks so much for being here. It is great to see you here on our Thursday afternoon. We've got a lot of stories to get to, and I want to get to the latest. We're getting more information on a deadly shooting involving 2 teens in South Fulton. Police just wrapped up a news conference on this double shooting, and they say they're finding promising leads in this case. So I want to take you through a little bit about what the mayor had to say and the public safety director, and then I'd like to let you listen to what they said during that news conference this morning. But we're looking at the deaths of 14-year-old Jeremiah Carter and 16-year-old J'mauri Smarr. This shooting happened Tuesday night, and Fulton County police say they're trying to find the suspect who they believe is responsible. They believe that both of the teens, they died there in that neighborhood, and now they said they're trying to find a motive in this shooting. In that news conference, they further talked about some of the clues that they're following and why they feel that they are getting some promising leads in this case. They did also push back on some rumors circulating online, saying they're urging the public not to speculate. They believe there may have been a third person in the vehicle when this unfolded, and they say that person is not a suspect at this time, but it's unclear whether or not a shooter was inside or outside the car. Let's take a listen to what Dr. Cedric Alexander had to say.
First of all, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here with us. At approximately 8:35 p.m. Tuesday night, March 17th of this year, officers responded to the 4200 block of Fortune Point, which came in as a shooting. Tragically, we found 2 victims who had succumbed from injuries after being transported to the hospital. Preliminary information indicates that individuals, this may have stemmed from a prior dispute that is still to be determined because we're still very early into this investigation and it's less than 48 hours old. This investigation is still active and ongoing, so there are a certain amount of things I'm going to be able to say here and some things that I cannot, and I think that you all, through your experience, understand that. We are aware of a number of rumors that are circulating, particularly in social media, regarding motives and circumstances. At this time, we're not in a position to confirm any of that, and we urge the public not to speculate. In order to protect the integrity of the investigation, we're not releasing additional information at this time. We can confirm that the victims did not reside at the location where the incident occurred. At this time, the suspects have been identified as 2 juvenile victims, 14-year-old Jeremiah Carter and 16-year-old J'mauri Smarr, both suffering from gunshot wounds. If you have any information that could be pertinent to this case, and certainly that information would be held anonymously, please contact us through Crime Stoppers. And as you heard the mayor say, let's be clear, the violence of this nature, especially involving young people, is unacceptable. And we're committed to identifying those responsible and holding them accountable. We are working several leads that appear to be very promising in terms of identifying who these subjects are, or this subject.
Okay, so you were listening to Dr. Cedric Alexander talk a little bit about what they're doing to try to find the suspect or suspects in this case. He says that they are also looking at evidence, including possible video, and working closely with Fulton County schools in this situation to try to figure out how this violence unfolded. And like you heard him say, they believe it stemmed from a prior dispute, but absolutely tragic. 2 teenagers lost their lives. So we're going to continue to keep you updated. Our Tara J'mauri is following up with police today and working to get interviews from family members, and we'll hear from her later this evening. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, we've got some other stories to get to, and I want to let you know that the sole survivor of that triple shooting in Athens last weekend has lost an eye as a result of that shooting and faces a long road to recovery. His loved ones say that he is in Grady Memorial Hospital facing this long road to recovery. We know that that shooting left 2 others dead. You can see them here on your screen. Clayton Adams on the left and Dylan there on the right. But the guy who is working to survive right now is Landon Skinner, and he's 20 years old. And right now, his uncle says that he's strong and he's holding on. He's in critical condition because that bullet struck him in the eye after that shooting there on Jackson Street in downtown Athens. The doctors at Grady Memorial surgically removed his left eye to prevent infection, and his family's been monitoring the brain swelling that's been ongoing as a part of this process. Police say that 22-year-old Mark D'Souza shot Skinner along with 22-year-old Clayton Adams and 19-year-old Dylan Bentley. Both died from that shooting. At this point, we're trying to figure out what led up to the violence. According to Skinner's uncle, Skinner had ridden to an Athens bar with D'Souza, and he says that they're trying to figure out how this unfolded because the suspect and this sole survivor were like best friends. Additionally, Skinner's family believes he may have been jumped before the incident, as his uncle says there was more to the situation than just Skinner getting shot. So very, very bizarre situation. We're working to get more information, but according to Skinner's mom, he does not have insurance and medical bills are piling up. So the family has created a fundraiser to try to offset some of those costs. Another story we're following here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom involves a fake rideshare driver arrested after calling 911 on a passenger. So let's talk about what unfolded here, because police say a woman called 911 to report a passenger refusing to exit her vehicle. However, she's the one who ended up in jail after police discovered over 100 stolen credit cards and a stash of drugs in her car. Jessica Digby is the one who contacted authorities, claiming she was a driver having trouble with a passenger. When Kennesaw police got there, they say they quickly found out that Digby was operating an illegal, unregistered rideshare service targeting intoxicated bar patrons. Kennesaw police say that she's not a registered rideshare driver, but she's out driving like one. So when officers arrived at that scene, they found an angry passenger who could not find his phone, and it later revealed investigators found out that she had allegedly picked the man up from that bar in Marietta and offered him that ride home. Police noted the irony of this suspect calling police, but then ended up getting police focused on her. The police say this was really unusual, but it was warranted given what had occurred. They also say she had a suspended driver's license, and the subsequent search of her vehicle uncovered 110 stolen debit and credit cards, oxycodone pills, THC vapes, and edibles. So they are now going to be investigating her, and they're looking at this fraud investigation meticulously, going through all of the people who may have owned those cards to try to get them back to their rightful owners and see if she may have made any purchases with cards that did not belong to her. Another story I want to let you guys know about involves a Fayetteville data center project that's now being halted because developers are withdrawing their appeal. The city of Fayetteville says there was a pending appeal on a proposed data center there on Highway 85, but that was withdrawn yesterday. Georgia's State Bill 482 actually targets predatory websites that would charge fees let's go through this, because as I'm looking at my notes here, I want to make sure I'm talking about this story, because this data center would have been situated north of the Fayette Pavilion Shopping Center, and it was bordered by Highway 85 and West Fayetteville Road, but there was a denial on January 27th, and the developers that had filed an appeal with a hearing before the full city council scheduled for Thursday. It's not clear if the developers are looking for another location or if they plan to sell this property, but as many of you know, this has been a contentious topic here in the state of Georgia as we are getting more and more data centers come to our state. A lot of residents here in our state concerned with energy consumption and what this means for them. So this is something that we're going to continue to keep you updated on as we get any new information. But let's continue, because a story I really want to talk about here at 2 o'clock involves a new initiative to protect the Fulton County Jail. And our Angelique Proctor is speaking about this initiative. Angelique, you just wrapped up with the Fulton County Sheriff and other leaders. What are they doing here?
Well, Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt and his staff are really excited about this. It is a drone program, and actually the sheriff says that about 75% of the contraband that gets inside the jail comes by way of drone. So he is now getting in the drone business to help counter what's already happening. It's a very interesting concept that they said today a lot of jails need to be getting in around the country. Now, Sheriff Labatt says, to his knowledge, this is the first program in the nation involving a first responder drone at a jail. That means anything that happens at the Fulton County Jail, for instance, a fire, or if there is a medical emergency, or even if someone is dropping off something illegally, this drone will come to the rescue. It is in real time. It has a recording device on it, and it actually will protect not only the staff here, but keep the jail safer.
Running the largest jail in Georgia is one of the hardest jobs in public safety. Working a facility like this is not easy. And amidst a crisis nationwide of staffing in law enforcement and for the sheriff, drones can become a force multiplier, being the first responder, both increasing safety for both the deputies and the individuals who are here in custody. Now, when an incident happens, a drone can be there within seconds. So in an example, the drone is positioned on the roof of the building. When something happens, what traditionally might have taken minutes for a deputy to respond, a drone can now be there in seconds. That drone has video and audio to relay back what is happening, be that a medical event, be that an intrusion of the perimeter, or be that a contraband drop from another drone.
Last year alone, halfway through the year, we had nearly 300 drone flights, unauthorized drone flights in and around the property. This has been certainly the bane of some of our existence. We've had everything from chicken sandwiches to cigarettes to really just tools to take the jail apart, delivered via contraband, and most of that came through drone drops.
That's right. You heard that right. Chicken sandwiches have been dropped here at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office by way of drone. Now, the sheriff says about 5 to 6 of his employees have been trained. They've been through drone school, and they are now FAA certified to operate these drones, or actually it's a pilot program with just one drone at this time. But the sheriff says that he would like to expand this program. The good news to Fulton County taxpayers, it won't cost you a dime. This is being funded by the Fulton County Sheriff's Foundation. So private donations won't cost taxpayers anything. A lot of people very excited about this. We'll see if it should make a difference. The sheriff is very confident that it will.
Angelique, it's really unique to think that if you can't beat them, join them, right? You know, hey, there's contraband's getting in via drones, so let us be the experts in this. I would not have expected drones to be a large source of the contraband. You would think that someone would see them on top of the jail or coming close, but clearly this is a successful way that stuff's getting in that it shouldn't be.
Absolutely. And one of the things that the sheriff said they hope to do is for this drone to see the bad actors' drones and be able to determine who's operating that drone and to be able to find them a lot faster than the way that they've been doing it, because a lot of times these drones have operators that are somewhere in the area in a car on a street, but if they can see the drone in real time, they can get numbers off of it. He says they're going to be able to determine who these operators are a lot faster.
And Angelique, good to know. And also the fact that it's chicken sandwiches being something that's smuggled in as well. You know, I guess food is important, and if the jail isn't cutting it in the culinary department, maybe that's something that people really want to get. Real quick before I let you go, remind people, when is this going to be operational? When will they start this program?
So this drone program is a pilot program. I believe it's up and running now. They actually did a demonstration for us today. That's how we got all of that great video. It's already stationed on the rooftop here. And they say they've already trained the people, so they are ready to go. The question now is, when will they get their second drone?
Angelique, thanks so much for your reporting. I know we'll get more from you this evening, so thank you for bringing this story to our attention. Okay, guys, as we continue here at 2 o'clock, we'll let Angelique get back to it. I want to talk about something. If you've got spring break plans coming up, you're headed to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, get there 3 hours early. No joke. Things have been really rough, and travelers are still seeing long security lines at airports across the country. The partial government shutdown has now reached week 5, and some hubs may have to shut down entirely. That's what officials are discussing. Here in Atlanta, nearly 350,000 people are expected to wait in TSA lines this week alone. Wait times were over 2 hours yesterday. And in Philadelphia, staffing shortages actually prompted TSA to temporarily close more checkpoints. It's gotten to a point Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix is now asking the community for donations for federal workers. Things like non-perishable food, grocery, gas, gift cards, and other basic essentials to try to help them get by so they can make sure that they're able to keep their security lines open. Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport is not a big airport, and wait times there haven't been as crazy as what we've seen in a major airport like Atlanta. But officials there are trying to get ahead of things and trying to support their agents with basic necessities. TSA workers have already missed a paycheck because of the partial shutdown, leading many to call out sick or pick up second jobs. And according to the DHS, rates of absenteeism have hit at least 30% in New York, Houston, and New Orleans this week. So this is something we're monitoring because it could close some smaller hubs altogether. Democrats claim they've tried to find multiple ways to fund parts of the Department of Homeland Security that would pay TSA workers, but they say they were blocked by Republicans. Chuck Schumer says that TSA is being held hostage. However, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says that Democrats are refusing to open TSA and FEMA for the American people. So a bit of a back and forth, as you can see. Now, with spring break travel incoming, Atlanta airport officials are asking you to arrive at least 3 hours ahead of your scheduled departure. So really incredible to think about being to the airport so early, but that is what they are asking. As we continue, speaking of the Department of Homeland Security, I want to let you know that Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin is one step closer to being confirmed as the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and a member of the President's cabinet. The Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee narrowly voted to advance his nomination yesterday. It came after a contentious hearing. It was an 8-7 vote with a no from Republican Chairman Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky and a yes from Pennsylvania Democrat John Fetterman. During his testimony before the committee, Mullin tried to make the case that he would be a steady hand after the tumultuous tenure of Kristi Noem. Mullin also signaled support for the president's immigration policies, which are central to this funding standoff that we currently see with the Department of Homeland Security. Both parties are fighting bitterly over the immigration policies of DHS, leading to this funding lapse now in its 34th day. But at this point, the nomination now heads to the full Senate, which could act to confirm Markwayne Mullin by next week. So we'll keep you updated right here on Fox Local on that. But something else that's continued today is testimony from top intelligence leaders before lawmakers. And we now know that President Trump's objectives in Iran might differ from those of the Israeli government. That's according to Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. She testified before the House Intelligence Committee today, and her remarks come after Senator John Ossoff pushed her on whether Iran presented an imminent nuclear threat, pointing to discrepancies between the White House and what intelligence communities were saying about Iran. Now, Gabbard responded that it was not the intelligence community's responsibility to figure out what is and is not an imminent threat. Rather, she said that that responsibility falls to the president. Ossoff accused Gabbard of, quote, evading questions to avoid contradicting the White House's narrative. Now, we also saw Senator Jon Ossoff push Gabbard on her presence at an FBI search of that Georgia elections hub here in Fulton County. She said she was there at the request of the president to oversee that process. In this hearing on annual threats and the annual threat assessment to the United States today, Gabbard touted the administration's efforts along the border and reducing illegal immigration, and she talked about the differences between Israel and the United States as it relates to Iran. Take a listen.
Defense of our homeland is of the utmost importance to the American people, and efforts by this administration over the last year to bolster homeland defense have yielded significantly positive results. For example, the strict enforcement of U.S. policies at the U.S.-Mexico border and regionally have served as a deterrent and drastically reduced illegal immigration. Based on Customs and Border Patrol data, January 2026's monthly encounters are down 83.8% compared to January of 2025.
Are the goals aligned?
The objectives that have been laid out by the president are different from the objectives that have been laid out by the Israeli government.
And how do they differ?
We can see through the operations that the Israeli government has been focused on disabling the Iranian leadership and taking out several members, obviously beginning with the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, and they continue to focus on that effort.
And how does that differ from our goals?
The president has stated that his objectives are to destroy Iran's ballistic missile launching capability, their ballistic missile production capability, and their Navy, the IRGC Navy, and mine-laying capability.
So the death and destruction continues. The economic cost to the United States, to Israel, to the Gulf states, and to the world continues to increase. So I want to ask you, to the best of your knowledge, do you know whether Israel is supportive of the president's call to make a deal with Iran?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know Israel's position on that.
And to what do you attribute Israel's decision to strike Iranian energy infrastructure, despite President Trump's call to keep those facilities off limits?
I don't have an answer for that.
So they ignored the president. Do you agree with that?
I'm not privy to any of their deliberations or what went into their calculus in launching this or other attacks. We are not involved with in the operational element of this. We're providing continuously on a daily basis the intelligence assessments of the events that are occurring.
So the war with Iran is now on day 20, and the Pentagon is now seeking an additional $200 billion in funding for this war. U.S. Central Command says American forces have hit nearly 8,000 targets inside of Iran and have destroyed or damaged 120 Iranian naval vessels. But defense officials continue to give no timeline for the end of this operation. Defense officials do say Iran has no air defenses, no navy, and most of its weapons production factories have been destroyed. The regime continues to lash out, launching what missiles they have left towards Israel and Arab Gulf countries. That's what's keeping the U.S. in this fight so far. The mission is still within President Trump's loose 4-week timeline. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth says that things are on track. So far, 13 U.S. service members have been killed as a part of Operation Epic Fury, 6 of them returning home yesterday. After attending that dignified transfer alongside the president, Secretary Pete Hegseth promised to honor their sacrifice. And to do that, the Pentagon is now asking Congress for more money, at least $200 billion, to replenish munitions and prepare for what's next. This is a high number that comes on top of extra funding the Defense Department already received last year and the president's big tax cuts bill. Take a listen to Pete Hegseth.
$200 billion. I think that number could move. Obviously, it takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future. Ensure that our ammunition everything's refilled, and not just refilled, but above and beyond.
So we'll keep you updated with the Pentagon's request for $200 billion in additional defense spending. I also want to talk about why some Democratic lawmakers walked out of a hearing with Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday as it relates to the Epstein files. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get to your weather forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. That's coming up next. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here on your Thursday afternoon. Let's get out to meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. We've got a lot to talk about weather-wise, and Jonathan's going to let us know what to expect for the incoming weekend. Okay, let's see. We might be having trouble playing Jonathan's weather, so we're going to bring that in just a second. Looks like, do we have that, Chris? We're good now? Okay, yes. Let's listen to what Jonathan has to say weather-wise.
Sunshine returns today, and there are a few clouds in the sky, but those clouds will not keep temperatures from warming up into the 60s. We'll look for a high of 67 degrees in Atlanta, and look at the numbers from north to south, east to west. Everybody enjoys a really welcome warm up. In fact, 67 puts us right on the money for the 19th day of March, which is also known as today. That's our average high temperature for this time of the year. 70s possible for the northwestern corner of the state. Tomorrow we'll all get to sample some 70s. In terms of the overnight, we'll drop down into the 40s inside the perimeter. A few communities outside the perimeter landing on either side of the 40-degree mark. Some 30s to start out your Friday morning, but you don't stay chilly for long because with the help of sunshine and winds coming in out of the south, the numbers are going to skyrocket. So let's go with 67 for today. Let's hike that up by at least 8 degrees for tomorrow to a high of 75 degrees, and then 80s are the wonder and the will for the weekend. I love this. Saturday and Sunday, 81 and 83 respectively. The number is softening a bit as we kick off the work week, but we're not mad at it. In fact, even as they soften, there is no big drop in the forecast, and these numbers should stay above seasonal averages. Let's work you through the hour-by-hour forecast here. A few clouds prancing and dancing around, but they don't bring us any wet weather. Overnight, once again, numbers sliding into the 40s, maybe a couple communities waking up on the 30s, but you don't stay there for long. Winds coming in out of the south and the west will do their job by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Got some clouds once again sliding by the Carolinas, and a couple want to hop the state line and visit northeast Georgia. But other than that, it's just 70s and sunshine abound. It's going to be a great afternoon, and it's a marvelous way to kick off what will be a really, really incredible weekend. Low dew points, a lot of sunshine, and some really impressive temperatures. Even morning temperatures fairly comfortable, 55 degrees, 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. The numbers just keep on climbing. Oops, did you see that there? Yeah, stray shower tries to jump out. So a cold front comes in Sunday and it tries to give us some rain, but guess what? The dew points are too low, meaning that there's not a lot of moisture to work with. So there's a potential that you could get a random, stray, isolated, I'm looking for all the words I can to describe just how low the rain chance will be for Sunday as that front moves through. Consider yourself the exception and not the rule if that happens. By the time we get into next week, the rain chance is trying to go up. But to be honest with you, I don't see any really good sizable chance for rain at all on the forecast. Hey, oh, by the way, tomorrow is what? The first day of spring. So that makes today the final full day of winter. And after all, we'll reach temperatures where they should be during this time of the year. By tomorrow, it will feel more like April. And then by Saturday into Sunday, it will feel more like May or even June, if you will. These numbers will stay elevated and above average right on through next week, with the chance for rain looking pretty low from now till then.
Jonathan, thanks so much for letting us get a look at what is to come. Definitely going to make the most of the weekend. Well, some of you guys are asking me here, TikTok, YouTube, sounding off in our chats, talking a little bit about what you want to see today. So one thing I talked about just a few minutes ago is how we were going to discuss what is happening with the Epstein files. So as some of you may remember, lawmakers with the House subpoenaed Attorney General Pam Bondi to testify about the Justice Department's handling of those files. Yesterday, there was a closed-door briefing, and we've learned now that Democratic lawmakers stormed out of that closed-door briefing held by Justice Department leaders. They said they would force Attorney General Pam Bondi to answer questions under oath about this case. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche went to Capitol Hill to try to quell this bipartisan frustration over the Justice Department's handling of millions of the files related to Epstein's sex trafficking investigation. But less than an hour into that briefing, Democrats walked out in protest of the arrangement and said they're going to press to enforce this subpoena for Bondi to appear for a sworn deposition next month. Democratic Representative Maxwell Frost says, quote, "We want her under oath because we do not trust her," end quote. Asked by reporters after the briefing whether she would comply with the subpoena, Bondi said, quote, "I made it crystal clear I will follow the law," end quote. She also defended the department's handling of the Epstein files, saying officials are proud of their work to release millions of documents to the public, and she said they work to do this in compliance with the Epstein Transparency Act, and that they had to go through millions of files in a very short amount of time. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this as it moves forward. I also want to let you know that we've gotten an update on a former 19 Kids and Counting star, Joseph Duggar, who is now being accused of child molestation. Let's talk about how and why this happened, because according to investigators, the incident involved a 9-year-old girl during a Florida vacation back in 2020. Joseph Garrett Duggar, 31 years old, is charged with lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim less than 12 years old and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted by a person 18 years or older. Now, he's awaiting extradition to the Bay County Sheriff's Office to face these charges, but officials have confirmed that he was featured on that TLC reality show, 19 Kids and Counting. He was arrested around 3 o'clock yesterday. Bay County deputies were notified the same day of his arrest when Arkansas police contacted them regarding a report of past sexual abuse. Investigators say the now 14-year-old victim had participated in a forensic review where she disclosed several incidents involving Duggar that allegedly happened on a family vacation to Panama City Beach when she was 9 years old. Authorities say the victim's father confronted Duggar about these incidents Tuesday, when he then allegedly admitted to his actions before that dad and the detectives there in Arkansas. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this situation. We have more details on our website, fox5atlanta.com, where you can get the latest on this story. Coming up as we continue here at 2 o'clock, we're going to get out to our Tyler Finger. Want to talk about the latest regarding what Georgia might be doing with the gas tax and how it's going to affect truckers here in our area. That's straight ahead. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here on your Thursday afternoon. Let's talk about it because a plan to suspend the gas tax is headed to the Georgia Senate, and we're going to discuss with our Tyler Fingert how this might bring some relief to truckers here in our state. So, Tyler, you're joining us live. Thanks so much. It's great to see you. What are you learning this afternoon?
Well, gas prices are high. You don't need me to tell you that. But if you drive a diesel truck, that is where we have seen the biggest spike. Take a look behind me. We're in Cobb County right now along I-75. And you can see on a roadway like this, we see a lot of 18-wheelers or trucks that use diesel fuel. So we are constantly having to have that, or these drivers are constantly having to have that so they can stay on the road and continue doing their job. And just the past month, AAA says the average price of diesel in Georgia has surged more than $1.60. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.60 for truckers and tow companies. That increase isn't just painful, it is costing them thousands of dollars. For businesses that rely on diesel, the impact is immediate. At Howard's Wrecker Service in Cobb County, they run about 30 trucks, each getting around 7 miles per gallon. And just last week, those trucks drove more than 22,000 miles, they tell me. And the company says that added up to about $5,000 more in fuel costs in just 1 week. The increase is driven by global tensions in the Middle East impacting oil supply. Truck drivers are also impacted. We talked to the tow company and truck drivers. Take a listen to what we were told.
Tyler, I'm looking here and it looks like we did not get your sound just yet. So would you be able to tell us a little bit about your conversation with them? And while you're talking about it, I'm going to see if we can bring that in on the back end. But just tell us a little bit about what they were telling you.
Well, yeah, they just say that the cost of fuel is hurting their bottom line. And as I told you, the Wrecker Service said that $5,000 in 1 week. Obviously, each week that's just going to keep adding up.
Incredible to think, $5,000 in an extra week. I mean, you know, that's not doable for families. You think about things in terms of a business. Obviously, they might have a little bit more money to play with, but that cost adds up. And if companies are having to pay these costs, it's probably no surprise that it's going to get passed down to consumers at some point. Is that something that they were hinting at with you or discussing a little bit?
Well, for the Wrecker Service Company, they were saying that they're obviously a family-owned business. They have about 30 trucks here in the metro Atlanta area. And they were saying that they have contracts with different companies and government agencies. And so they have fixed prices. So essentially, this is really impacting their bottom line because let's say their contract is, so we don't have the exact numbers, but let's say the contract's just $1,000 for something. And if you're having to pay extra amount of fuel, they're not making any money in terms of any extra revenue, even though they're shelling out even more money for that diesel. In terms of the truck drivers, obviously, they're saying the independent contractors, they end up picking up a load and their fuel surcharge may not be enough to actually cover what they're seeing at the pump when they're having to fill up. One guy we spoke to says his truck takes $1,500 of fuel right now, and just a month ago, it would have been about $900.
So Tyler, it looks like we have the interview you discussed with that gentleman. Let's take a listen real quick.
Especially with our contracts where we don't have, where we're set with our pricing and everything like that, it takes a hit to the bottom line. So it's, we have all of our expenses, but the paying out for the diesel, like I said, with the, roughly 7 miles per gallon for our trucks over the last 22,000 miles is a $5,000 deficit right off the bottom line.
If the price was like a few weeks ago before the war started, it was okay. We still can manage, but now the price is going up so high, it's unbelievable.
It's eating into our revenue. It's hard to survive. I mean, prices are already high and not making no money. So what are we going to do next?
Yeah, drivers say when diesel prices spike, those costs won't just stay on the road, and in gas, it's going to end up being passed along to consumers. Some bigger companies, you can think of stores like Walmart or Costco or things like that. They may be able to kind of absorb some of the cost increase for the diesel fuel, but there's only so much you can do when you're seeing a $1.60 increase. And I'll tell you, we are approaching what AAA says was the highest average diesel price in Georgia from back in 2022, which was about $5.55 a gallon. We're at about $5.18 right now in the average price. So it is quickly rising. So we could see that record be broken if this continues on and if gas prices and fuel prices continue to get worse.
Tyler, thank you for your reporting this afternoon. Always good to understand how world events and policies affect businesses and people right here at home. So great to hear from those truckers to understand what they're facing. Appreciate your reporting, and we'll hear from you again later this evening. Tyler Finger reporting for us this afternoon. I want to talk a little bit about next steps in terms of tariff refunds and what we're learning this afternoon, because uncertainty has continued to grow among consumers and manufacturers, not just with gas and fuel prices, but also as President Trump continues to push ahead with his tariff agenda. That uncertainty is what led the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to hold interest rates steady, despite relentless pressure from the White House to lower interest rates. Now, the war with Iran creates a lot of question marks for future rate cuts, affecting everything from gas prices to grocery bills. New inflation numbers out Wednesday showed the producer price index reaching 3.4% in February. That's the biggest jump in a year in terms of inflation, and it sent stocks into a tailspin. The president's tariffs are also prompting a surge of lawsuits. In the months since the Supreme Court invalidated most of these tariffs, more than 100 U.S. companies have filed legal actions asking for their money back. The list includes powerful names like FedEx, Dollar General, and Brooks Brothers. And while there's an expectation that the impact of tariffs will fade over time, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said that has not happened yet. So businesses are closely watching a report that is set to come out in June, and that could determine whether tariffs get ramped back up. The president is trying to use a provision called Section 301, which would allow him to raise tariffs on countries found to be taking advantage of unfair trade practices. The new government data shows the economy lost almost 100,000 manufacturing jobs in the past year. On Capitol Hill, Democrats say that's proof tariffs are hurting American workers. The Justice Department is expected to announce next steps in the refund process on Friday. So that's tomorrow. We'll keep you updated there. I also want to let you know about something pretty concerning here, because the United States Postal Service is set to run out of money next year, and Americans may soon have to pay nearly $1 to mail a first-class letter through the government's Postal Service agency. The USPS Postmaster General David Steiner said during a congressional hearing this week that the price of a first-class stamp could rise up as high as 95 cents. That is up from 78 cents. He also said that the potential price increase may be necessary. USPS is struggling financially due to declining mail volume. And according to the Postal Regulatory Commission, USPS delivered 12 billion pieces of mail in 2024. That is a nearly 50% decline from its peak in 2006. Steiner also told the House Oversight Committee the agency may run out of cash in a year, and the price hike would, quote, largely solve our controllable loss. So we're going to continue to keep you updated on this story. No doubt it's going to affect a lot of people if you do use the USPS to mail items. As we continue here, we're going to get a look at a new school pantry that is opening today with our Eli Jordan, and that's straight ahead. Welcome back, you guys. I want to get out to some breaking news we actually just got in the 2-minute break apart from you. So let's talk about it because we're going to come back to this story. But first, I want to talk about what is unfolding with a missing University of Alabama student. The student went missing in Spain, and now a body has been found amid this search. Officers from the Mossos d'Esquadra, the regional police force in Barcelona, have set up a perimeter around a section of beach. They say they've discovered a body, and there's been an ongoing search for missing University of Alabama student J'mauri Smarr. Now, that body has not yet been identified, but early Thursday evening, local time there in Spain, a worker at Port Olympic, that is adjacent to the beach outside of this club where Gracie was last seen, ran out and waved down police and pointed to that direction of the beach. Officers went to go check it out. They were able to put up crime scene tape. They marked off a vehicle and cordoned off the scene. But the department posted on X saying that officers have located the lifeless body of a person in the water in the area, and procedures are underway to identify that body. Now, J'mauri Smarr is 20 years old, University of Alabama student. His family's been desperate to find him, and the 20-year-old was last seen by friends around 3 a.m. Tuesday at Xoco. That's a club there in Spain. It advertises itself as one of the top 10 clubs in the world and sits on the edge of the Mediterranean Sea. Gracie and a group of classmates had traveled to Spain to visit friends studying abroad in Barcelona on spring break. So as we get more information on this situation, we'll continue to keep you updated, but wanted to bring that breaking news to you as soon as we got it. A body has been found in the search for that student. It is not confirmed to be J'mauri Smarr yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we learn any new information. As I mentioned, there is a new school pantry coming to Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy. Our Eli Jordan shows this, how it's going to help feed over 100 families in Metro Atlanta.
Hey, late last summer, Must Ministries and Kroger had a big announcement at one of the Kroger stores that they were going in partnership to help supply food in a lot of area schools at school food pantries. Well, here we are, 2026, 5 school laters. Must Ministries and Kroger are here cutting a ribbon at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, and they're really excited because they got about 150 students and families that they have identified that are facing food scarcity. Now, food scarcity is a major issue in the country. About 14 million children face it nationwide, and here in Georgia, about 500,000. And just in the metro area, 200,000 children are facing food scarcity. And that's why this is important today, because they can help out here at ground zero where the students go to school, and they can get the food here. And I spoke with people with Kroger and Must Ministries, and here's what they had to say.
We're excited because for so long we've been outside the perimeter. This is our first opportunity to come inside the perimeter to provide these pantries. We have 3 on tap for this year, starting today here at Hank Aaron Academy. So we are ecstatic at Must Ministries to be a part of the city of Atlanta and to help provide food for our children.
So our mission is zero hunger, zero waste, and we want to remove hunger in our communities in every way that we can. When you think about 1 in 5 children are food insecure, you get into school statistics. In Georgia, over 200,000 students in the metro Atlanta are food insecure, and over 500,000 across the state of Georgia. It just makes sense to be able to expand the mission and reach out to schools where there's a big need.
6th through 12th graders here at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy can plan on getting food once a month, about 50 pounds of that food. Now, Kroger and Must Ministries, they're hoping to open up 2 more food pantries in their partnership later on this year. And if you'd like to help out Must Ministries with a donation, you can go to mustministries.org. Again, that's mustministries.org, and you can donate there. Reporting at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, back to you guys.
Eli, thanks so much for letting us know about this effort. Really great to see that for families here in our city. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, want to get in a few more headlines for you guys. And this one's pretty wild. So Atlanta police are searching for a man who allegedly threatened to kill Chick-fil-A employees. Police say he walked up to this drive-through window, and pretty incredible that we have this footage because normally that doesn't happen. But police say he walked up to the drive-through window at the Chick-fil-A on MLK Jr. Drive. This is near Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and police then say the man said, quote, "You are going to serve me or get ready to die," about some chicken. That's when employees moved away from that drive-through window. And you can see that man reaching in that drive-through window, taking some cash out of the register. Police later say that it was $200 in cash that he took from that register. And then police say he got away in a silver or light-colored SUV. You can see it there on your screen. But police are trying to figure out who this guy is, and they're trying to figure out, of course, what he was trying to do besides steal that cash, if anything. So if you recognize him, if you recognize that SUV, give police a call. You can call Crime Stoppers or the Atlanta Police Department, and you can remain anonymous and still be eligible for a reward of up to $5,000. So police are asking for your help in that case. I also want to let you know about what Atlanta's mayor had to say about the State of the City address he gave last night, or excuse me, last night. It is Wednesday. I'm already a day ahead, you guys. So Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens touted a few things in his State of the City. He said that graduation rates are rising, crime is dropping here in Atlanta, and he pointed to increased affordable housing as metrics for success for the city. He said that all Wednesday night at Woodruff Arts Center there for the State of the City address, and he says that Atlanta's state is strong. He cited improvements in public safety, housing, and education, despite a decline, he says, in federal support. But this is something we're going to continue to monitor, because the big push from the mayor's office has been on 13,000 affordable housing units, 500 rapid housing, and services and care to those experiencing homelessness. It's been an ongoing situation, as many of you know, especially with the World Cup. A lot of people talking about how we can sustainably help our homeless population while also making the city look desirable for all of these international visitors. A lot of people, a lot of advocates concerned that any homeless issues might get swept under the rug. So we're going to continue to keep you updated on that situation. But in the time we have left, let's bring in Tom Haynes here to talk about what we have coming up at 3.
All right, Ariel. Yeah, I'll talk on the World Cup. I mean,
yeah,
the city is really getting ready, trying to, as you say, put its best foot forward, but having to reconcile certain issues like the homeless population and resituating those folks before the big event. We are waiting for a 3 p.m. news conference from Atlanta Police and several other agencies, by the way, on tackling this trend that's going around where these teenagers want to storm certain areas or create some kind of event, these large-scale, what they're called teen takeovers. Well, police don't like them for obvious reasons. Police all over the metro Atlanta area, not just here in Atlanta, but it's become a suburban problem as well.
Sure.
So Atlanta police, in advance of the weekend, are going to come out with some very strong language about these teen takeover social media events. And that's happening at 3 o'clock. As soon as it does, we're going to take you there live, plus a lot of other things going on today, Ariel.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm looking off, and it looks like we may or may not. Okay, it looks like they might be doing a mic check.
Something's
I'm like,
getting
don't
ready
let them
up there.
start early on us now. So, Tom, thank you.
Sure.
We'll see you guys here at 3. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines, live with you here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, getting you caught up on all the day's top stories today. I want to take you live to Atlanta Police Headquarters, where we begin the 3 p.m. streaming hour today with a critical warning from Atlanta Police. You could see them gathering there, ready to take the podium. Are we ready to listen into this? Because they're addressing these large-scale teen takeovers being organized on social media, and it looks like officials, this is a multi-agency group of folks coming in demonstrating just how seriously they're taking so-called planned events like this, not only here in the metro Atlanta area, but elsewhere in suburban metro Atlanta. So the Atlanta police official there taking the podium. This is at the public safety headquarters here in Atlanta. An important message, a critical one in their words. Let's listen to Atlanta police now.
You all have to play musical chairs.
Yes.
All right. All media rolling and ready. Hold one moment. And no one will spell their names. Everything is already there. They will announce who they are, but the spelling of everyone's name as well as their positions is available on the screen to my left and right. I'm recording. Okay. All right. All right. Deputy Chief Smith.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming today. I'm Deputy Chief Jason Smith with the Atlanta Police Department, and I'm here today with these distinguished public safety leaders behind me, and we want to send a message. We're here about these teen takeovers, and we are all standing together. All public safety agencies in the metro area, we are together on this. These takeovers need to stop. They need to come to an end. They're causing chaos and violence, and we want the public to be safe. Now, we want all young people to enjoy the weekend. We want them to enjoy the weather. We want them to enjoy the city of Atlanta and everything it has to offer. Parks, recreational activities. There's atlyeartheyouth.com that they can go to for alternative programs. We want them to enjoy these festivities. These are important. It is important for our young folks to be outside and enjoy each other's company. That is not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is criminal activity, and that's not going to be tolerated. These teen takeovers, they started in December of 2025. They started taking over streets, disrupting the flow of traffic. Property was destroyed. Property was damaged. There was fighting. There was assaults. Shots fired were in some cases. Chaos. The most recent takeover was February 28th in the Atlanta Beltline. During this incident that started Saturday afternoon and bled over into Sunday morning, we ended up arresting 13 people between the ages of 13 and 20 years old. 11 firearms were recovered. One of them had a Glock switch. That means it made a semi-automatic handgun into a fully automatic handgun. Very, very dangerous. There were 4 curfew violations. Some teens were charged with aggravated assault, theft by receiving stolen property, reckless conduct, terroristic threats, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Very serious felony charges for young people. That is not what we want to see. That is not the road we want to see our folks going down, especially our young kids. This is a reminder. The city of Atlanta has a curfew. Sunday through Thursday, 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Friday and Saturday, it is midnight to 6 a.m. We understand there are plans for takeovers this weekend. We want you to know, as me and all these folks behind me, we are ready. We are here. These takeovers are not going to happen. All of us are prepared and ready to interact with any folks that show up for these takeovers, and that behavior is not going to be tolerated. Now, for more, a lot of this involves some of our younger folks. I'm going to kick it over to Chief Applin to say a few words.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to talk to our young people and their families. Just understand this. If these events are taking place during school times, you got a couple of issues to deal with. It's not just dealing with the law enforcement. It's also dealing with school, because there are violations in the school district that you may be subjected to if you decide to do this during school hours. You should be in school. This is not the time for you to ruin your future by doing something that just doesn't make any sense at all. And we don't want you to regret that. And I know it seems like it may not be a big deal, but it's a very big deal at the end of the day. Many of you are at an age where if you do one thing one night, it can ruin a lot of things for you, especially scholarships. So for those of you that are planning to go to school on scholarship, whether it's sports or athletics, you're gonna run the risk of losing that scholarship. And I don't know about you, but I know if I'm a parent and I'm dealing with a kid who potentially has a scholarship and lose that scholarship, that's a lot of money. Trying to get into college, you're probably trying to get into trade school or even a job. Those are things that are going to be impacted by your decisions. So make good decisions at the end of the day. There are positive ways to have a good time in Atlanta, in school, and out of school. For the parents, you need to watch your kids. You need to understand what they're doing. You need to know what they're doing every second of the day. Do not let your child lose a potential future by doing something that doesn't make any sense at all. Don't let them run the streets when they should be at home. Because of the curfew, you need to be paying attention to that. Be smart, know where your child is, not just this weekend, but every weekend, every day. Thank you.
Well, I think the chiefs have set the ground rules and the groundwork for what weekends to come. Let me start by thanking both Fulton County Sheriff's Office, the women and men that work there, as well as the Metro Sheriff, so DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, Cobb County Sheriff's Office, Henry County Sheriff's Office, as well as Gwinnett County. And we want to emphasize that this is not a heavy-handed approach to our teenagers. This is not a law enforcement heavy-handed approach, but ultimately we want to make sure that our teenagers are safe, that their futures, as you heard Chief talk about, are safe. As a side note, the regional law enforcement community stand as one, and the foolishness will not be tolerated. And simply put, as Chief alluded to, watch your children so we don't have to.
The Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt, in addition to officials from the Atlanta Police Department, with a warning not only to teenagers but to their parents as well. One official saying, as it relates to these so-called teen takeovers, which have been happening across the metro Atlanta area, where social media posts go around basically marshaling teenagers to come to one area and in many cases cause trouble, something the police don't want to have to deal with. They said sometimes these events get violent, not only here in Atlanta, but in other jurisdictions around the metro Atlanta area, saying that these are not going to happen, in their words, that they are all together, that they cause chaos and violence, and that one night, according to these officials, could impact the rest of their lives, something they don't want to happen if arrests are made. As we move on here, we want to talk about a brave disclosure from a child who led deputies to a trove of drugs and guns in Carroll County. That's Kevin Stewart, live for us this afternoon in Bremen, with how deputies intervened, Kevin, just in the nick of time.
Yeah, this is really something that, when you take a look at the big picture here, you see the coordination between law enforcement, the school system, and advocates in Carroll County. This is a suspect. His name is Justin Ferris. He's locked up here in the Carroll County Jail. And this all started when his daughter reported to school that there were problems at home, abuse, physical abuse, including an allegation that the suspect pulled a gun and put it to the head of his wife and threatened to kill her. And so the child, a teenage female, told the school system, and that led for DFACS to get involved in an investigation, which led for Carroll County to show up at the house with a search warrant. And what they found, you should be looking at pictures of guns, about 36 guns, 35 guns in all, and drugs, with mushrooms, marijuana. We talked to the Sheriff's Department about the big picture here, as well as the West Georgia Child Advocacy Center, because there really is a big picture here. I want you to take a listen.
grateful no one was injured at any time, or that a child did not get a hold of one of those weapons and it be more of a tragedy than it already is. The biggest takeaway here is trust your school administrators, trust those counselors, trust your school resource officers, utilize those people if you are in a situation that you need help.
The intersectionality of criminality, of different types of crime, we know that when victims are experiencing one type of crime, it is statistically likely that there is some other complicating factor. And I think it's really important to think about the way that these incidents affect not only children, but their caregivers and kind of a network of folks. And I think highlighting the importance of organizations that serve victims collaborating and working together, obviously with our law enforcement partners and other members of the multidisciplinary team. That's the way we give the best service to survivors in our community.
Yeah, so you get a sense there how the community advocates are looking at all of this. And we did talk to Ashley Halsey, the Sheriff's Department spokeswoman, about this issue, about guns. And she says, hey, people can have guns. She says there's nothing wrong with guns, it's legal, but it's what you do with those guns. And what is alleged to have happened here is clearly a crime, whether you like guns or not. Tom?
Well, it's a spectacular discovery. And it sounds like we're dealing with a couple of issues here. These child abuse claims, charges, whatever, and then the discovery of this huge cache of weaponry, which looked unbelievable in the pictures that you just showed us, Kevin.
Yeah, long guns. I don't recall the exact breakdown, but there were 35 guns in total, most of them long guns as opposed to handguns. And it really is an interesting find that they've said, the Sheriff's Department says, hey, we're glad this could have been so much worse. What happens if he used one of those guns on his wife, on his kids? This was a teenage girl. And there were younger siblings in that household, so this could have been so much worse when you have that mixture of guns and drugs. He is also charged with intent to distribute drugs, substance, and because of the mushrooms and the marijuana there.
Yeah, the child indeed very brave to work with authorities, get this person off the streets. Kevin, thanks. As we continue here, the message is, we're going to find you. That is the direct message from South Fulton Police to the gunman who killed 2 teenagers on Tuesday night. We're talking about Mayor Carmelita Gumbs, who said that investigators are following very promising leads in the deaths of 16-year-old J'mauri Smarr and 14-year-old Jeremiah Carter. Police believe the shooting stemmed from a prior dispute. No arrests have been made, but detectives are currently reviewing video evidence and interviewing a potential third person who was inside that vehicle. But the message from the mayor that they're going to find this person as investigators follow some very promising leads. Well, could we see some relief at the gas pump? Some breaking news from the state capitol happening really within the past hour or so. The state Senate just voting on suspending Georgia's gas tax for the next 60 days. Let's get out to Deidre Dukes following all things under the Gold Dome for us at the state capitol with the latest on this late-breaking vote. Deidre?
That's right, Tom, and this all really kind of came together just within the past hour with the Senate voting unanimously on that House bill to suspend the state gas tax for 60 days. And that certainly would provide a great relief to motorists there at the gas pump, as we for weeks have been dealing with these high gas prices. So state senators approving that bill after the House did vote on that measure just yesterday, sending it over to the Senate. And the move does come 1 week after Democratic state lawmakers urged Governor Kemp to provide relief from the mounting pressure at the pump. Now, the governor has suspended the state gas tax 3 times since 2022. We spoke to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle before today's vote, and they both said they would support a suspension of the gas tax.
I would absolutely support suspending the gas tax. Right now, the prices are up, obviously, what's happening overseas. As we've done in Georgia so many times, thanks to the leadership of Governor Kemp, Lieutenant Governor Jones, the Speaker, in the House and the Senate, we do the right thing to help Georgians when there's time for affordability crisis.
I actually drafted a letter, many others drafted a letter to Governor Kemp talking about the gas tax to suspend that. I think that's something that needs to be done. Once again, we can have agreements, and that's a big area to have an agreement on, quite frankly, because as we see, things are kind of spiraling out of control now. So I think this is needed for the people of Georgia. So we're happy to support that.
And again, soon after we talked to those senators, Democratic and Republican senators, who both agreed that they would support and vote for that suspension of the gas tax, they did, along with their Senate colleagues, Tom, do just that, voting unanimously. So now the bill goes to the governor's desk for his signature. And right now, it looks like Georgians could realize a savings of around 34 cents a gallon per gallon for gas that they're paying for right now. So really a lot of folks just very happy that this has passed the legislature and now it's on to the governor's desk.
Deidre, it is good news for Georgia drivers. Gas prices have gone up over 30 cents a gallon, as you mentioned. They could go up even further if the conflict in Iran drags on and they're not able to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I'm wondering, lawmakers are making this move. Could the governor have done it unilaterally? I mean, I know there were a lot of questions pointed at him related to suspending the gas tax. I guess he could have done that himself, correct?
Well, when the legislature is not in session, and this is something that I'm working to confirm, but this is my understanding, when the legislature is in session, the governor cannot take the lead. It's up to the legislature to act and then send that bill on to the governor. If the legislature was not in session, it is my understanding that the governor could issue an executive order and then the legislature would sign off on that, but the governor would then take the lead, is the way it's been explained to me, Tom.
Which makes sense. In this case, I foresee nothing standing in the way of the governor, especially when we're getting bipartisan support on doing this, his signature on a bill like this to suspend the gas tax.
Yeah, absolutely. This is certainly one that when you look at both the House and Senate getting behind this overwhelmingly, that this is something that you would imagine, since the governor has done it before, something that he would support and back and sign off on sometime soon.
All right. Deidre Dukes following the latest for us at the state capitol this afternoon, where the Senate voted on that important legislation to suspend that gas tax for the next 60 days. Welcome news as it makes its way through the state capitol to Georgia drivers. Let's talk about the situation at the airports, which is not good and not welcome news to folks because it's still going on. And this is what I'm talking about here. Travelers still seeing long security lines at airports really all over the country, not only here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, but all over the United States as the partial government shutdown reaches week 5. Some hubs may have to shut down entirely. Something we talked about here on Fox Local yesterday, and it's something we even talked about on The Pulse at 7 p.m., which streams here on Fox Local and, of course, is seen on our broadcast channel, Fox 5 Atlanta. In Atlanta, nearly 350,000 people expected to wait in TSA lines this week. You know, the spring break travel season is just getting underway. Horrible timing for this type of situation to perpetuate. Wait times reaching 90 minutes in some cases. If we take a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson. In Philly, staffing shortages prompted the TSA to temporarily close. So the question is, can Congress reach an agreement to reopen this part of the government and fund this agency, which falls under the Department of Homeland Security? Speaking of, Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin, one step closer to becoming the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, something that would be good news in the midst of all this. A Senate committee narrowly advancing his nomination today in an 8-7 vote. The hearing turned combative as Republican Chair Rand Paul challenged Mullin's temperament, voicing opposition to the pick. Mullin aiming to succeed Kristi Noem as the cabinet battle heads to the full Senate for a final vote next week. President Trump's objectives in Iran differ from those of the Israeli government. That is according to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who testified in the House Intelligence Committee today. This is day 2 of her testimony. Gabbard's remarks come just one day after Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff pushed her on whether Iran presented an imminent nuclear threat.
Defense of our homeland is of the utmost importance to the American people, and efforts by this administration over the last year to bolster homeland defense have yielded significantly positive results. For example, the strict enforcement of U.S. policies at the U.S.-Mexico border and regionally have served as a deterrent and drastically reduced illegal immigration. Based on Customs and Border Patrol data, January 2026's monthly encounters are down 83.8% compared to January of 2025.
Are the goals aligned?
The objectives that have been laid out by the President are different from the objectives that have been laid out by the Israeli government.
And how do they differ?
We can see through the operations that the Israeli government has been focused on disabling the Iranian leadership and taking out several members, obviously beginning with the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, and they continue to focus on that effort.
And how does that differ from our goals?
The President has stated that his objectives are to destroy Iran's ballistic missile launching capability, their ballistic missile production capability, and their Navy, the IRGC Navy, and mine-laying capability.
So the death and destruction continues. The economic cost to the United States, to Israel, to the Gulf states, and to the world continues to increase. So I want to ask you, to the best of your knowledge, do you know whether Israel is supportive of the President's call to make a deal with Iran?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know Israel's position on that.
And to what do you attribute Israel's decision to strike Iranian energy infrastructure, despite President Trump's call to keep those facilities off limits?
I don't have an answer for that.
So they ignored the President. Do you agree with that?
I'm not privy to any of their deliberations or what went into their calculus in launching this or other attacks. We are not involved with in the operational element of this. We're providing continuously on a daily basis the intelligence assessments of the events that are occurring.
That is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testifying before Congress as it relates to the conflict in Iran. Lawmakers asking her if the United States and Israel are on the same page as to what the end goal is and the exit strategy is. Our own Senator Jon Ossoff was in a somewhat combative exchange with Tulsi Gabbard there about Iran's nuclear capabilities and whether the country posed an imminent threat to the United States. So we'll continue monitoring Gabbard's testimony and, of course, follow any developments out of the White House as to what the President is saying about how this war continues to unfold. As we continue here, it is almost Friday. We've almost made it to the weekend, knocking on the door anyway. We're going to talk about what the forecast is going to look like as we make our way to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boy, it's nice outside right now. Let's take a live look outside up in Sandy Springs, where the weather is just spectacular today. A picture-perfect spring day as we continue. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haynes, with you live here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, bringing you update on all the stories that are making headlines today. We appreciate you streaming with us on our mobile app on Fox Local if you're watching on one of your devices, or if you're watching through one of our live channels on your home TV. Welcome to you as well. Or on our social media sites, where we always love your comments and feedback about what we're talking about on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, all at Fox 5 Atlanta. Or if you're on the radio with us, 107.9 HD2 FM, we're certainly glad you're listening today. Let's talk about something that we are all concerned about, and that is our weather. What is the weekend forecast going to be after this roller coaster week of rain and temperatures and everything? Let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy.
Sunshine returns today, and there are a few clouds in the sky, but those clouds will not keep temperatures from warming up into the 60s. We'll look for a high of 67 degrees in Atlanta, and look at the numbers from north to south, east to west. Everybody enjoys a really welcome warm up. In fact, 67 puts us right on the money for the 19th day of March, which is also known as today. That's our average high temperature for this time of the year. 70s possible for the northwestern corner of the state. Tomorrow we'll all get to sample some 70s. In terms of the overnight, we'll drop down into the 40s inside the perimeter. A few communities outside the perimeter landing on either side of the 40-degree mark. Some 30s to start out your Friday morning, but you don't stay chilly for long, because with the help of sunshine and winds coming in out of the south, the numbers are going to skyrocket. So let's go with 67 for today. Let's hike that up by at least 8 degrees for tomorrow to a high of 75 degrees, and then 80s are the wonder and the will for the weekend. I love this. Saturday and Sunday, 81 and 83 respectively. The number is softening a bit as we kick off the work week, but we're not mad at it. In fact, even as they soften, there is no big drop in the forecast, and these numbers should stay above seasonal averages. So let's work you through the hour-by-hour forecast here. A few clouds prancing and dancing around, but they don't bring us any wet weather. Overnight, once again, numbers sliding into the 40s, maybe a couple communities waking up on the 30s, but you don't stay there for long. Winds coming in out of the south and the west will do their job by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Got some clouds once again sliding by the Carolinas, and a couple want to hop the state line and visit northeast Georgia. But other than that, it's just 70s and sunshine abound. It's going to be a great afternoon, and it's a marvelous way to kick off what will be a really, really incredible weekend. Low dew points, a lot of sunshine, and some really impressive temperatures. Even morning temperatures fairly comfortable, 55 degrees, 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. The numbers just keep on climbing. Oops, did you see that there? Yeah, stray shower tries to jump out. So a cold front comes in Sunday, and it tries to give us some rain, but guess what? The dew points are too low, meaning that there's not a lot of moisture to work with. So there's a potential that you could get a random, stray, isolated, I'm looking for all the words I can to describe just how low the rain chance will be for Sunday as that front moves through. Consider yourself the exception and not the rule if that happens. By the time we get into next week, the rain chance is trying to go up. But to be honest with you, I don't see any really good sizable chance for rain at all on the forecast. Hey, oh, by the way, tomorrow is what? The first day of spring. So that makes today the final full day of winter. And after all, we'll reach temperatures where they should be during this time of the year. By tomorrow, it will feel more like April. And then by Saturday into Sunday, it will feel more like May or even June, if you will. These numbers will stay elevated and above average right on through next week, with the chance for rain looking pretty low from now till then.
All right, Jonathan, thanks so much. There are a few other headlines we want to get you caught up on. Another member of the Duggar family is behind bars tonight facing disturbing allegations. 31-year-old Joseph Garrett Duggar, former star of TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, charged with molesting a 9-year-old girl during a Florida vacation back in 2020. Investigators said that Duggar admitted to the abuse when confronted by the victim's father earlier this week. He's currently awaiting extradition to Bay County to face multiple lewd and lascivious charges. Atlanta police searching for a man who allegedly threatened to kill Chick-fil-A employees. Listen to this. Police say he walked up to the drive-through window at the Chick-fil-A on MLK Jr. Drive near Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And according to police, the man said, quote, "You're going to serve me or get ready to die about some chicken." There he is, according to police. That's when the employees who moved away from the drive-through window, smart move, could see that man reach through the window and take around $200 in cash from the register. Police say he got away in a silver or light-colored SUV. Mayor Andre Dickens declaring the state of the city is strong during his address last night, highlighting the completion of 13,000 affordable housing units. The mayor says that the city is thriving even as federal support withers, pointing to a new AAA bond rating and a hike in the city's minimum wage. While the mayor spoke of progress inside, protesters gathered outside of the Woodruff Arts Center calling for better labor protections and an end to the arrests for those experiencing homelessness in advance of the World Cup. We have a lot still to come ahead. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So glad you're with us this afternoon here on the 3 p.m. streaming hour of Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. You know, there's a lot of talk on what the situation is with tariffs, not only how they're affecting the economy, but a lot of companies talking about rebates and eventually passing those rebates on to consumers. Uncertainty growing among consumers and manufacturers as President Trump pushes ahead with his tariff agenda. It is that uncertainty that led to the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, holding interest rates steady, at least for now, despite relentless pressure from the White House. The war with Iran creating a lot of questions, marking the future for rate cuts, affecting everything from gas prices to grocery bills. And that has a lot of people talking about what is next with tariffs as the president decides ways forward and the Justice Department rules on what to do next. New inflation numbers out yesterday showed the producer price index reaching 3.4% in February, the biggest jump in a year, sending stocks into a tailspin. The Dow Jones Industrials hovering somewhere around 45,000 right now after hitting 50,000 a month ago. Americans may soon have to pay nearly $1 to mail a letter. Can you imagine? It used to cost like 5 cents not too long ago, when I was a kid maybe. Then it went up to 25 cents, 30 cents, but now it's going to cost you $1 to mail a letter. The Postmaster General saying during a congressional hearing this week that the price of a first-class stamp could rise up to 95 cents from 78 cents where it is now. The potential price increase may be necessary as UPS struggles financially due to declining mail volume. Chaos on Capitol Hill today as Democratic lawmakers stormed out of a closed-door briefing on the Jeffrey Epstein situation. They're now vowing to force Attorney General Pam Bondi to testify under oath, claiming they don't trust the Justice Department's handling of millions of redacted documents. Bondi defending the agency, saying that officials are proud of the release, while Republican leaders accuse Democrats of political grandstanding as it relates to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The war with Iran now in day 20, and the Pentagon is seeking an additional $200 billion to fight Iranian forces, an additional funding for the war. U.S. Central Command says that American forces have hit nearly 8,000 targets inside Iran and have destroyed or damaged 120 Iranian naval vessels. But defense officials continue to give no timeline for ending the operation.
$200 billion. I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future, ensure that our ammunition everything's refilled, and not just refilled, but above and beyond.
All right, that is the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, with plans for moving forward with the war in Iran, saying that the Defense Department needs at least $200 million more to fight that effort, and in his words, kill the bad guys. Well, a win off the court for Metro Atlanta students, shifting gears here dramatically. The Atlanta Hawks Foundation donating $1.2 million to provide free meals, eye exams, glasses, all kinds of things that fall under the student umbrella. Our Chris Rosenthal has more.
You know, I've been wearing glasses since I was in elementary school, just like these students, and I think for a lot of kids, they don't quite realize maybe that their vision is off, and it can lead to a lot of problems, not being able to see, not being able to read. So that's why Vision to Learn is here. It teamed up with the Atlanta Hawks and Georgia's Own Credit Union and some other organizations to give about 100 students here at Evelyn West Elementary School a pair of glasses along with an eye exam. And I talked with Pete Silberman with Vision to Learn just about why this is so important.
We're here today because we're celebrating giving children glasses. There are hundreds of thousands of kids across Georgia, over 100,000 kids across Metro Atlanta who go to school every day and can't see just because they lack access to vision care and glasses they need to read the board or participate in class. It compromises their quality of life, it compromises their academic success. So we're here celebrating a program run by Vision to Learn, the Hawks, the Wrestler Family Foundation, a number of other organizations across the Metro to provide 47,000 kids, all K through 5 kids across the Metro who need this care with vision care and glasses over the next couple of years.
We got a van right here. This is kind of where it all starts. Can we go inside and take a look and talk about it?
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
So what we do is we go into a school, we screen every kid, make sure that we know who might need an eye exam, and if they do, we bring this van right to their school. They come on board, we've got a doctor, and it looks like a doctor's office right in here. They can get an eye exam. If they need a prescription for glasses, they can pick from almost 100 different styles and frames. We have those glasses custom made for the student. It takes a couple of weeks. We come back and we do a custom fitting. We tell them a little bit about how to take care of their glasses, when and how to wear them. They're warranted, so you know, if you're a kid like most kids, you're gonna lose them, you're gonna break them. We can replace them for free and make sure that they stay with the glasses they need.
What's the reaction when they put these things on?
You know, I mean, it is kind of magic. It's seeing the world clearly for the first time, and I think one of the things that always surprises me is I say, what do you want to be able to do now that you have your glasses? And so many kids tell me that they want to read. You know, there are kids that tell me they want to play basketball or they, you know, video games, whatever it might be. But a lot of kids tell me they're really excited to read. It's something that's been really hard for them. Maybe they didn't know why. They didn't know they needed glasses. And all of a sudden, we come to the school, we give them this service, and it's like magic. They are able to read and participate in class. You see their confidence go up. They're not really, maybe they were withdrawn or didn't have self-esteem, and all of a sudden they kind of come out of their shell. We hear all the time from teachers and administrators. There are students who are tracked into special ed classes that end up getting tested for gifted. There are kids who just see dramatic turnaround in their academic performance. And there are really very few things out there that are going to help a kid who needs glasses more than making sure they have those glasses.
It feels good. I can see more clearer, and I can see like the smaller words better.
How do you think that will help you with school?
It would definitely help me on like computers. That way I don't have to literally zoom into it so I can see the full screen.
What's it like putting those glasses on?
So like I have gotten like lots of glasses, so this is my third pair of glasses so far. And at first when I put them on, everything looked more different than my old glasses.
Because you was paid for word assistant.
So now like when you first get glasses, your eyes kind of start hurting, but once you get more used to it, it stops hurting.
Can you see clearer now?
Yeah.
No.
Atlanta Hawks making a big donation to Vision to Learn, $1.2 million. Students here also got all copies of some books for them to read, to test out with their new glasses and their newfound eyesight. Vision to Learn says they're not done here. They're going to go to all the Metro Atlanta schools, elementary schools that have a need for this program. Back to you.
Chris Rosenthal, what a great effort on the part of the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to continue here in just a moment. Coming up, Fighting Hunger in the Classroom, the new effort to put groceries directly into Atlanta schools when we come back. Let's talk sports as we take a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Things not so beautiful inside the airport. Boy, with those TSA wait lines reaching upwards of 3 hours as we embark on the weekend, and of course spring break week right around the corner for colleges and universities as Congress still makes its way through debating a budget for the Department of Homeland Security and actually paying TSA workers, many of them not showing up to work at all, clogging up wait times at the airport. So it ebbs and flows. Just be sure to check with, you can check directly with the TSA on the wait times at each individual airport. So be sure you do that before you head out if you are catching a flight. Are you headed up to Buffalo? Because it's game day up there, okay? The Dogs taking on the St. Louis at 9:45 tonight. There's Victor Prieto. Victor, looks cold and cloudy where you are at KeyBank Center, but a ton of tournament energy up there.
Yes, Tom. Definitely, I think a little colder here in Buffalo than down there in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure it's starting to either snow, rain, something of the sorts here, but we're burying it outside. We got games going on inside. It's the ending of the USF game inside, and then we have some party going on right outside KeyBank Center Arena. This is actually the St. Louis mascot. The Billiken was out here with some St. Louis fans. They are not friends today to Georgia. That's who Georgia is going to be taking on later tonight. Like you said, 9:45, a very late tip. They're the last game of a 4-game slate here in Buffalo today, but a 8-9 seed, and Tom, it's going to be a lot of fun. Georgia, St. Louis in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you mentioned it. 8 and 9 seed. This is really the beginning of beginnings, I should say, of March Madness.
Yes.
So how do you pit these two teams? I mean, what are the strengths of each going into this game tonight?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. So Georgia has had a really good season in terms of, technically their best season in a regular season in program history. 22 wins. They play very fast and very aggressive. They're the number 5 scoring offense in the country. They lead the country in fast break points, in dunks. So you see a lot of high slamming plays, a lot of running. Well, this is also the only matchup in the round of 64 in the first round of the NCAA tournament that's featuring 2 offenses in the top 10. St. Louis, also a high-scoring offense. They're 10th in the country. Obviously, the Athletic 10 or the American 10 Conference, So they have 5 losses. They're 4-4 in their last 8 coming into it. So both wise, Georgia is the more aggressive, the more talented, more physical team in terms of athletes on the roster. The question is Georgia going to be able to kind of beat St. Louis at their own game, which is outscore their opponent?
Yeah, and Victor, this is kind of what March Madness is all about, right? You have the big school from the big conference taking on sort of a trendy mid-major school. Are the fan representations on both sides just as passionate and just as intense up in Buffalo, which is neutral territory for both?
Oh, yeah. You got to see, obviously, there's not much people right now outside here. It's a bit cold, but you see the St. Louis fans here. We've seen some Georgia fans earlier this week. This is a really big deal for the NCAA tournament. Georgia hasn't won an NCAA tournament. You can go both ways. Since 2002 was technically their last win, but because of academic sanctions later, that win was removed. So officially, they haven't won a game since 1996. That's 30 years. The Dogs looking for that win. On the other hand, St. Louis hasn't been to the tournament in over 10 years as well. Nobody on this roster on the Billikens has been to an NCAA tournament or played an NCAA tournament game. So for basically both these teams, it's really new territory that is very exciting for them and the fans. It's been a good crowd so far in Buffalo. Hopefully everyone sticks around for the 9:45 p.m. tip, because it could go, into Friday, but it should be a lot of fun.
And what about J'mauri Wilkinson? Because there's a lot of talk surrounding him and his performance tonight. A lot of eyes on this player.
Yeah, J'mauri Wilkinson, the leading scorer of the Bulldogs. They actually have 4 different guys that average double figures. And then Santos Cyril, their center, is right there. He's averaging 9 points a game. This team, what's great about them, J'mauri Wilkinson is kind of their engine that keeps them going scoring-wise. But they have a lot of different guys that can also contribute. Cannon Catchings is one guy in their big win against Alabama just a couple weeks ago. He exploded for a career-high 30-plus points. They're going to need guys like that to step up today if they want to win and score. And that's the nice part. They lead the country, actually, or top 5 in the country in bench points as well. So they have a lot of different guys that can contribute and score for them.
I love when we have one of our own up there covering an event like this, Victor, because I can ask you silly questions like, give me a sense of the environment around you. You are at KeyBank Center. Is this a big venue? How many people can it hold? And again, looks like a crummy day up in Buffalo.
Yeah, here, I'm going to flip the camera a little bit. My arm's getting a little tired. I'll show you around a little bit. So KeyBank Center Arena is the Sabres Arena, so that's the hockey team here in Buffalo. A really nice arena, and honestly, a really nice center. We're basically in the heart of downtown Buffalo. I wish I could show you a little more. This is the parking garage, and then right behind this is the arena. But apparently last week we got here and all the locals were joking and saying you came at the worst time, because last week it was in the 60s and 70s. It was beautiful here. And then that snowstorm that I'm sure we all know about that canceled a lot of flights, complicated a lot of travel, came through here in the Northeast and made everything cold again. There's snow and ice on the ground still, but it's been a good trip up here. And Buffalo, they show out for their sports.
Sounds like the weather down here, minus, of course, the snow and ice, but I mean, we've had some wild weather down here in Atlanta. Cold, and then spring, and then thunderstorms. I mean, it's all over the place. But you're watching it all for us. Victor Prieto up in Buffalo at the KeyBank Center. Dogs and St. Louis tonight at 9:45 for March Madness. Victor, great job. Thanks so much. We got a great story for you this afternoon. It's a win-win situation. It's about food getting into schools at the exact right moment, right time, and Eli Jordan is covering that one.
Hey, late last summer, Must Ministries and Kroger had a big announcement at one of the Kroger stores that they were going in partnership to help supply food in a lot of area schools at school food pantries. Well, here we are, 2026, 5 school laters. Must Ministries and Kroger are here cutting a ribbon at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, and they're really excited because they got about 150 students and families that they have identified that are facing food scarcity. Now, food scarcity is a major issue in the country. About 14 million children face it nationwide, and here in Georgia, about 500,000. And just in the metro area, 200,000 children are facing food scarcity. And that's why this is important today, because they can help out here at Ground Zero, where the students go to school and they can get the food here. And I spoke with people with Kroger and Must Ministries, and here's what they had to say.
We're excited because for so long we've been outside the perimeter. This is our first opportunity to come inside the perimeter to provide these pantries. We have 3 on tap for this year, starting today here at Hank Aaron Academy. So we are ecstatic at Must Ministries to be a part of the city of Atlanta and to help provide food for our children.
So our mission is zero hunger, zero waste, and we want to remove hunger in our communities in every way that we can. When you think about 1 in 5 children are food insecure, you get into school statistics. In Georgia, over 200,000 students in the metro Atlanta are food insecure, and over 500,000 across the state of Georgia. It just makes sense to be able to expand the mission and reach out to schools where there's a big need.
6th through 12th graders here at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy can plan on getting food once a month, about 50 pounds of that food. Now, Kroger and Must Ministries, they're hoping to open up 2 more food pantries in their partnership later on this year. And if you'd like to help out Must Ministries with a donation, you can go to mustministries.org. Again, that's mustministries.org, and you can donate there. Reporting at Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy, back to you guys.
Awesome. Eli, thanks so much. I want to take you to up in New York, Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrials, again, taking it on the chin, but cutting some of their losses. Oil price is still over $100 a barrel with the conflict in the Middle East, over in Iran, the situation in the Strait, dragging down stocks. Some consumer price index numbers came out yesterday, prompting the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to come out saying that the Federal Reserve is going to hold rates steady, all right, as we try to figure out a way forward in Iran and what the future of that conflict might be. You heard the Defense Secretary asking for $200 billion more to fund the war effort, but stocks cannot seem to recover. They were down as low as 45,000 in earlier trading, now edging, recovering some of that loss. But if you recall, not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, stocks were at an all-time high, breaching the 50,000 mark. So a lot of room left for stocks to recover as we try to finish off the work week tomorrow on a more positive note. We'll continue to watch it for you. I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Fox Local for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.